This is the voice of the report of the week, signing on. Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone listening. This is VORW, the voice of the report of the week, and we are now present and accounted for yet another program of VORW, the official international service of this YouTube channel, the report of the week. This program is audio only, though uploaded to YouTube in video form, and is length about between 2 and 3 hours usually. In this program we discuss the channel and any matters I find fit to discussing. Really the gist of this program is, well, if you want to see something more than just food reviews, if you want to, hear the reviewer himself talk about something other than burgers and ribs and chicken, if you want to hear me, just babble on for 2 hours, if you want to use this as an adequate sleep aid, which some will and have, go for it. Really, this is just a miscellaneous program which serves the purpose of, just filling the void if you want to get to know, I guess, the proprietor of this channel a little better. It's Tuesday, June 6th, ladies and gentlemen, mid-afternoon. About 2:15 p.m. and I'm sitting here, sitting outside on the front porch, sitting in a chair. Wanted to get some fresh air, nonetheless, and it was a nice warm day today. It still is. It's in the mid-80s outside Fahrenheit. It's 85 degrees Fahrenheit outside with a nice breeze, and there's a late springtime thunderstorm that is apparently moving into the area. A few moments ago it was actually sunny out, sunny and blue skies, and now as I gaze to the west I see darker clouds approaching fast overhead, and this once bright sunny atmosphere is now becoming a bit collisionous in nature. It really is. It's, getting darker. I can see the dark clouds above me. We'll see. We'll see what type of storm this is. But if it's solely a rainstorm, I'm not gonna move from this chair. I mean, I spent a good 15 minutes last night. I do this sometimes from time to time. I have this chair that I like to sit in, during the warmer months. It's a comfortable chair. It's what they call an Adirondack chair. And people have said this thing's a piece of crap, but I disagree. I tend to disagree. I mean, it's not perfect, and I think it does a good job, kind of fitting the contours of oneself and being able to sit back and relax. And no one else uses it but me. So, on an annual basis, since around, 2012, or about 2012 now, I think, I'll go out in the, usually the late spring, as I am now, and I'll get a few rags, dampened rags, and I think actually since 2011, yeah. I'll get a few dampened rags, and I'll, because again, I'm the only one that uses this chair, and I only use it in the summer months. So one can imagine, since it's outdoors, it kind of accumulates a few layers of dirt and dust in the meantime. So I go out with a few wet rags, and I scrub it down nice, clean it up, polish it up, and dry it off, clean out anything else. But then it's good to go. So I did that yesterday. I performed that ritual yesterday. I went out, with a few wet rags, and I cleaned it off nice, got it nice, and now I'm using it, and I'm kinda, now I'm using it, and I'm enjoying it. And it's a nice little chair. It's, again, it has good-sized armrests on your left and right, and, I'm laying down my left arm right now in this armrest, and there's plenty of room on it still. I mean, there's good room, you can put a drink there, good enough room for your glass of water, your energy drink, your beer, whatever you drink. and even enough room for like a little, my shortwave radio that goes on it. More than enough room there. So it's nice. It's a nice little chair, and I can set up a little base camp out here. Get my drink on one armrest, get my radio on another. Can do a little listening out front, kind of look out, watch the cars go by, watch the birds fly around, And, there are some perks to sitting out front, as I said, There's, the houses up front aren't really that bad. It's the neighbors behind me which cause the trouble. And they always go out on their decks. When I sit out back, that's what I gotta deal with, so I like sitting out front better. Well, anyways, though, if you haven't realized already, I'm in New York again. I'm in New York. Never fun, going back, but I'll be back here for about another week or two, and then we're on the road again. But it's I'm up here for. I'm not really gonna share just some medical reasons, but that's it. I'm keeping the rest to myself for now, and just trying to make the most of it. Anyways, I'm out here. The rain's starting to pick up a little bit. Again, though, I hear no thunder, so assuming this is just a rain, like a rainstorm, a rain cell, then I'm just gonna sit it out for the duration and not go inside. It's got a nice little overhang anyways, and I'll be thoroughly shaded from the the rain, and even if there were hail, I'd be fine. I might even go out and grab a few little cubes of hail that fall down, and I don't know. I just like hail. I do. We don't get hail that often here. We don't. But I just think it's an amusing phenomenon. Though I imagine it doesn't do any justice to one's windshield. Anyways, though, yeah, I'm just back up here. It's just it's a Tuesday, June 7th of June, 2016. The day of the California primaries, where all eyes are on Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton, of course, where they're going to be facing off in probably the biggest Democratic primary that there is. Of course, Trump's going to go there too, but it's already assumed in the Republican primary that Trump's going to sweep the state, as he will New Jersey and the other states that are holding their primaries today too. But all eyes are on California. All eyes are. Of course, Trump is already the presumptive nominee for the Republican Party. As for the Democratic Party, there's some controversy. We got the real issue is the superdelegates. That's what people who affiliate themselves as Democratic, that's what they're really talking about, is the superdelegates. Because last night, Hillary Clinton broke the number of delegates needed to become the nominee. But that's counting, the 500 and some superdelegates which she has. So if you assume the superdelegates are there, she's the nominee already. If you don't, Bernie Sanders only is about 300 superdelegates behind her. But anyways, no matter what, superdelegates included or otherwise, Bernie Sanders said he's taking this to the convention no matter what, and hoping for a big win in California today. And it'll be interesting. It's always fun for me to watch the polls and watch the returns coming in live. I think politics can be a real fun thing. and it's always fun. I like to go to this website called The Guardian, UK. It's I think it's a British site, but they have a really good, comprehensive view of actually the all the primary results coming in. And it's very, very interesting. I feel it's very amusing. You get, a map with the state. You get a map of the state. Say California, right? There's just this California state map divided into counties, and it's interactive, so you can click on each county. And then on each county, when the results come in, you'll see the candidate actually show up and paint the little county, the specified color. So, for instance, Donald Trump would go and he'd paint the county red, for the Republican map, and it would show you how many votes he got and how many votes, Kasich and Cruz got. And then Hillary Clinton, she's dark blue, and Bernie Sanders is light blue, and you'll see them paint the little counties and, see how many votes they got. And it's really neat. You get to see all the votes, and it's just it's live, by the way, so it's coming in live and refreshing and updating constantly. I think it's just very interesting to see, see the results coming in live like that. And it's a fun little interactive map. It really is. I enjoy it. I do. But anyways, that's your unbiased political update for the day. It'll be, as I said, it'll be an interesting one. I don't think I'll be getting this up in time before the results are in, but you never know. Maybe I'll move and I'll get this uploaded tonight. I will say, though, assuming this is going to be uploaded on the 7th, it's probably going to get uploaded on the 17th by the snail's pace that I go at, but assuming this is uploaded on the 7th, you should also expect to receive a food review today as well. One can hope. I hope we'll get that food review up. I can't say I will, nor can I say I'll get this up the 7th, but I'm going to try. And try I will. But, you can try, right? There's no harm in that. You can try. And that is what I shall do. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you may have seen that these last two videos I did were more on the random side. Because that they were. They were two random videos, for the most part. And, really, to fill the void, to just plainly and simply state it, they were there to fill the void of the food reviews and energy drink reviews that I was not producing. That was because I was on the road. I went to Pennsylvania, to Pocono, Pennsylvania. If any of you were in Pocono or attended the race in Pocono, the Nascar race, you can say, damn, Review Bra was there. And I didn't see him, because I was there, in the flesh, the Pocono Raceway. I was there. No one recognized me there, by the way, no one did. I went through there unscathed. But I was at the, but I was traveling, I went to Pocono, and I talk about this on a yearly basis, so it's nothing new, but I'll talk about it nonetheless. But I went there to Pocono Raceway, and it's fun. It's a yearly thing I do, and if you watch the Nathan's Hot Dog Contest, the whole intro I did, that's just, if you didn't, that was a sarcasm. It was a sarcasm. It was me just joking around, and because really it's just a bunch of fat slobs, just eating hot dogs, and just being sarcastic, really overreacting about some hot dog eating contest from Nathan's, which was very disgusting, by the way. I'll get to that in a minute, but what I really was doing is I was going there to Pocono, Pennsylvania, in order to attend the races. We got tickets for the Skybox, and when I got those tickets, they actually come with a little package deal. You're able to go there for there's 3 races in this weekend, right, at Pocono Raceway. There's the ARCA, and there's different series of races. It's not just NASCAR, and that's that. There's 3 different series. There's the ARCA series, there's the Xfinity series, and then there's the Sprint Cup series at NASCAR. So think of it this way, right? For those of you who don't really follow NASCAR or car racing, from a distance it might just seem, well, you got the drivers, maybe you heard of Jimmy Johnson or someone like that, and Jeff Gordon, he retired last year, or, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and so on. And you might think, well, these guys, it's just NASCAR, it's just the one race, right? They get on the track and they go around and, and that's it, right? That's all there is to it in NASCAR. But not quite. NASCAR is actually divided up into different kind of tiers of racing. The ARCA series is the lowest tier of racing. You got, little kind of no-name drivers or drivers who have money, bought a car, and are trying to work their way up. It's like the rookie series, not too many people watch it. As I said, it's just the rookies, but they'll race they'll race at some tracks. It's not that heavily covered. Then there's the intermediate tier, you can think of it as the Xfinity series. Those are like the semi-professional racers with a few professionals in there. And that's more heavily followed and heavily sponsored. And these drivers are more experienced, but still, these are people now who are trying to get a real, formal career as one of the top drivers, and they're trying to do this to work their way up. So this is where you get a few more experienced drivers. And then there's the Sprint Cup Series, which is the one that everyone knows. All right, when you think of NASCAR, it's the Sprint Cup Series. This is where you have all the, famous celebrity drivers there. As I said, like like Jimmy Johnson and what have you. Real major sponsors, heavy media coverage. Hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people show up to watch these guys race, and so it's the Sprint Cup Series is the one that everyone wants to watch. That's the big one. The Sprint Cup Series. That's the big race. That's the race that as I do reiterate, that everyone wants to see. Now, this package deal allowed you to see, for just a fixed price, you guys like a weekend ticket, right? You get to see the ARCA race, the Xfinity race, and the Sprint Cup race at Pocono Raceway, and you have the same seats for each. So it's like a 3-day pass, you get. And I didn't catch the ARCA race. I wasn't really interested in that one, as again it was the rookie drivers. I didn't really know anyone there. There wasn't anyone to root for, so it wasn't, why bother, right? And so I was just traveling that day. That Saturday, though, because it was, I'm going in, tickets for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Saturday tickets were for the Xfinity race. And I knew a few of the drivers there, so I decided to watch it. Plus, they're more experienced drivers, and it'll probably make for a more interesting race. So, got the seats, got the eats, and I holed in for the race. Unfortunately, the weather was not on our side. The race started out good. It was nice and sunny. The cars were on the track for the Xfinity race, and race they did. And it was fun. There were some good crashes there. Got to see some of the cars crash. Then they were racing. They got a good 50 laps in out of 100. 53 laps exactly, I think. And then the rain came, and they tried to dry the track. They have like these powerful jet dryers to do the job, but they didn't. They dried the track, but then another rainstorm hit and just washed all their progress away. Then another, and then they just called the race. They said, well, unfortunately, it's just going to keep raining on and off all day, and we can't dry the track in good enough time, and it's just not gonna work. And you may be thinking, these cars are powerful race cars. Why do they need a dry track to race on? Reason is because you got to remember, when a car is going nearly 200 miles per hour, when a car is going that fast, you got to realize, number one, that when the track is slick and wet, okay, the tires aren't going to grip as well. Because when a car is going that fast, grip is a very, very important thing in order to make sure that when a car is going around one of these turns in the racetrack, the car doesn't flip over, Or when you got to brake a little bit, which most people don't do in NASCAR, but if something comes up and you got to brake, you got to make sure that the car is going to stop. Okay? Got to slow down. When the track is slick like that, though, grip is going to be non-existent. So if one of these cars tries to attempt a turn, at nearly 200 miles per hour, there is a very strong likelihood that the car is either A, going to flip over, B, the car is going to spin out, or C, the car isn't going to really successfully be able to make the turn, and it's going to just hit the wall. And all of those will likely result in an accident, perhaps quite serious in nature. And braking as well. If something comes up, the car can't stop. Think of it as the road, right? The car can't stop when it needs to. That spells trouble right there. That's why they can't race. It's just very hazardous and dangerous to the track. And while there haven't really been any deaths in NASCAR in a very long time, last thing, the NASCAR officials want is for there to be any more. Because it always is tragic when a driver does die, at the sport. I think one of the last real big accidents at NASCAR where someone died was the famous crash of Dale Earnhardt, where I think his neck was broken very severely. I think it was something with the helmet. I don't know if his head got broken, or his neck got broken, or if it actually was just dismembered. I have to read up on that one. But anyway, so the amusing part was one of the jet dryers caught fire. One of the drying trucks of the track just caught fire, and that was amusing. If you ever want to look it up, Pocono Raceway, it's a real fun raceway. It's one of the biggest in NASCAR, I think. I think it's the biggest, but it's a big one. And real fun to have a seat that overlooks it. So then the next day, the big race, the Sprint Cup race, which was Sunday it was. It was a miserable day all day long. It was in the 60s with a cold rain and mist coming down nonstop. The race was pretty much just canceled from the get-go. There was also heavy fog that day. It was a very aesthetically pleasing day, but it just didn't work out too good. There's just an issue with the fog. They can't race in the fog either. It was just rainy, and it was canceled. It was rescheduled for Monday. Unfortunately, I, as I said, had business to tend to Monday, so I couldn't stay that extra day, which would have been honored. They would have honored it, but they couldn't. Just had somewhere to be. And then that day there was there's food service there, but there was people were having issues with our corporate pals who were serving the food, because allegedly the food was, I don't know, they didn't bring it up. They apparently had the food sitting there, but there wasn't any coordination, so apparently they cooked all the food that was supposed to be served, but they didn't actually bring it up to the stands and to the seats. It was just sitting there getting cold somewhere else. And people were upset, but I said, I'm not a fan of that, catered buffet-style food anyways. It's never the greatest quality to begin with. So I packed up my stuff, went in, and just went to one of the concession stands and bought a chicken tenders basket with fries. I think a meal that's not all that frowned upon. It was as I said, a chicken tendies basket with fries, and they were good. They gave you like a little one of those containers where they put the fries in, and on top of the fries there were, I think, 4 fried chicken tenders on it, and they were good. I'm not gonna lie, I love that thing. That thing is great. That is a good tasting meal right there. It's so simple, and very nice to consume. It's a very nice meal to eat. The chicken tenders basket with fries. I put some ketchup in one of the corners of it, dipped the chicken tenders in the ketchup, ate away, and then finished off the fries as well, which were nicely salted, and didn't even need any salt of my own, and it was a very good meal. Unfortunately, though, I missed the Sprint Cup race. I watched it on television yesterday. Good news, though, is that I was able to catch the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. And I happened to stumble upon it inadvertently, believe it or not. I was walking through some of the fanfare, they call it, and I saw there was the booth, and they announced that they were going to do the hot dog eating contest, an official qualifier. And we sat down, and I said, heck, let's film it. And I decided I'd make an over-dramatic intro to it. And that's exactly what I did. So I filmed it, I was watching the guys eat, and let me just tell you this as a little side note, that the contest itself, I mean, if you think it's disgusting just watching it on the camera, I mean, imagine seeing it with your own eyes. I mean, the camera films in HD, 720p, 60 frames per second. Not bad. Not bad. But, it's not, I don't know, what's the big thing now? Not 1080, but what is it, 4K, resolution? It's nothing like that. And our eyes, the detail our own eyes can see, still kind of puts some of that real high resolution to shame, just the details we can see. And I'll just say it. It was disgusting. I mean, yeah, you can see the stains on that one guy's shirt in the center, the individual there. And, it's just, I mean, if you thought that was gross, imagine being able to actually see all the details, see all the little chunks of vomit caked up around his mouth, and seeing all just the juice, from his stomach and from the hot dogs just dripping out of his mouth while he's trying to force the hot dogs down and coming down onto his shirt, just giving this increasingly just yellowed orange stain on his shirt, And then watching this other guy just, just trying to eat, and you can just see him trying to put the hot dog in his mouth, and just seeing all the stomach acid juices and all the juice and water from the hot dog that's just giving this discolored brownish liquid just pouring down his chin and falling on the table, and he's just trying to force it up again, and some of the guys gagging, and oh boy, doesn't that want to make you eat a hot dog right there? It was disgusting. And that, I can't see myself eating a Nathan's hot dog for a long time after seeing that. I mean, plus, and here's the real thing, you gotta remember this. At this hot dog eating contest qualifier, alright, there were no warming plates, there were no hot plates, nothing to keep them warm. It was just, a table that they were eating them off of. No hot plates, no warming devices, no heaters, nothing there. And those hot dogs were out there for a good 30 to 45 minutes in the 60-degree weather with cold rain just coming down on them the whole time. So now imagine that, all that disgustingness, coupled with the fact that now you realize that these guys are eating just cold, damp, soggy hot dogs. That just makes it worse, in my opinion. It really does. I don't know how. I don't know. I imagine. Just gives me no urge to eat a hot dog from there, for sure. I mean, I guess it's advertising. I guess it's okay advertising for the Nathan's brand, but I'll tell you this. Is it really a good form of advertising? I mean, it gets the Nathan's name out every year. And many people think of Nathan's as the hot dog eating contest, But watching this, does it really make you want to say, oh, God, I see these guys vomiting up those hot dogs, and, oh, I just want to eat a hot dog right now from Nathan's so bad. I mean, it doesn't do that to me, but maybe it does for other people, but I thought it was just disgusting. Yeah. Hey, to each his own, you throw up the shoulders, and you say, hey, to each his own. Maybe there's some people where that just gives them a ravenous appetite, and says, oh, just gimme, gimme, gimme. While others may not want any such provisions from Nathan's. And I guess I'm one of those people. It says not interested. Count me out, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to VORW, the voice of the Report of the Week. Alright, this is VORW, the voice of the Report of the Week. It's another day, yes, another day. It's a Friday, because I knew I wasn't going to get it up that Tuesday, so it's a Friday now. And here we are, Friday afternoon. And we'll finish the monologue, and then we'll go ahead to a night walk. Or actually, it's an evening walk segment. Early night walk segment. And then after that, we'll be going to, of course, the fan mail and general talk. Or general talk intersped with the fan mail, of course. I'm looking outside right now. Because part of me wants to go back outside. It's another day, so I haven't really been outside at all today yet. And it's a nice day. And part of me wants to go out and lecture outside. Not when there's people outside, but, just nature itself is beautiful, and it's a shame sometimes there's so many bad people outside to kind of rain on the parade, But, let's check the door here. Let's check the coast. Pleasant outside, though, sunny and, 78 outdoors. And let's check the coast here. I think it's looking good. I don't know, you guys, people actually seem to like it when I do a little shortwave scan. So maybe I'll bring my radio out and we'll do a little scan and you'll see what it's like at, 4:30 p.m. what the shortwave bands are like. But anyways, let's make sure the coast is clear now. See, I got some bad neighbors that are a problem, that are direct threats to me, and I gotta make sure they're not outside when I'm out, Let's see, the one back there, he's not out, and the one to the side, he's not out. Good. Alright, we're clear. So we can give our little lecture outside and enjoy nature as it's intended to be enjoyed. So, I guess it's time for that shortwave segment. Since I got my radio here, why not? So let's talk about the latest happenings in shortwave radio and what's going on. Because I want VORW to serve also as a little piece for shortwave listeners too, and people who want to get into shortwave and know what's going on there. Unfortunately, there will be times with these shortwave segments where I talk about what's going on with these stations. There will be times when I have good news and I got bad news. And unfortunately, this is one of those days where I have bad news about shortwave. And the decline thereof. Again, this just serves as further, hope to be a further little push for you if you want to get into the hobby. This is just be another thing telling you to just get into it right now while it's still there. This station is a famous one. As a matter of fact, if you were ever a fan of the band REM, which is a very well-known 80s and 90s group, and they even went into the 2000s, REM. Of course, they're famous for some of their songs, It's the End of the World as We Know It. And I Feel Fine, or I'm Fine, or whatever it goes. There are some other good songs, Imitation of Life, from the early, I think, late 90s or early 2000s. That was another great one. Supernatural, Super Serious, of course, was a good one. Love, the one everyone knows, of course, is Losing My Religion, you know, bum 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 bum. You know, that's the one that everyone knows. And then, of course, there's one called Radio Free Europe. And that's one of my favorite songs of theirs, Radio Free Europe. Not just because I like how it sounds, because it also deals with an actual shortwave station by the name of Radio Free Europe. I'm sure many of us have maybe heard of Radio Free Europe because of that song, or maybe you heard about it from the Cold War, or maybe you live in Eastern Europe and you still listen to Radio Free Europe. But Radio Free Europe is an entity of the Broadcasting Board of Governors, which is the organization that controls the Voice for America and all its affiliates, like Radio Free Asia, which goes to Asia, Radio Farda, which goes to Iran and Iraq, Radio Mashal, which goes to Afghanistan and Pakistan, Radio Azadi, the Pashto and Dari services of the VOA, Hello Darfur Radio, Radio Marti, and so on. You know, the list goes on. The VOA Radiogram, VOA Learning English, VOA Special English, and so on. Voice of America is this giant network of shortwave stations that has all these other affiliates, including Radio Free Europe, which is mostly broadcast in Russian to Eastern Europe and Russia, and it's supposed to broadcast messages of quote-unquote freedom and democracy, and who's to say if they actually are messages or if it's just anti-Putin slander, you know. I mean, I don't know, I can't help but feel bad for Putin myself a bit. You know, I think he gets a lot of unnecessary hatred. I mean, yeah, there's some things that he does that aren't good, but I think we kind of just pick on him too much, you know. Just because he doesn't go a certain way. But anyways. Radio Free Europe still broadcasts to this day on around 23 frequencies. Let me just get something here. But Radio Free Europe still broadcasts to this very day on around 23 frequencies in Russian, and then on about 20 more frequencies in other languages like, Belarusian, Ukrainian, probably Armenian, Georgian, Circassian, or whatever language that is, and so on and so forth. Well, the bad news, ladies and gentlemen, is that Radio Free Europe is going off the air. This iconic station, which was once a staple of the Cold War, and was a very influential station at the time, is now going to be leaving the airwaves as of July 26th, I believe. So it's going to be around for about a month and a half longer, but all 23 broadcasts in Russian are going off the air. The fate of the other services, the Belarusian service, the Ukrainian services, etc., is unknown. I don't know if they'll go off the air or if they will remain, but who's to say? But Radio Free Europe will be going off the air on July 26th of this year. And with that, it's to be imagined that one of the transmitting sites in Germany, either the Lampertheim or the Biblis sites, one of the two will close down as well. So either way, no matter how you look at it, Radio Free Europe's going off the air, along with a transmitter site that has around a dozen 100 kilowatt shortwave transmitters. So you're going to lose a transmitting station and an influential station. Some quite poor timing given how relations are between the U.S. and Russia right now. And to give you some statistics as to why shortwave is still relevant there, you know, in many parts of the world, Russia included, shortwave isn't extreme. You're not going to find people on every street corner huddled around a shortwave radio. But you got to remember that Russia, And at first you're going to say, well, yeah, no bleep, no crap, no S, review bra. That's why they cut shortwave. But I'll explain to you something else after I give the statistic. Around 71% of individuals in Russia use the internet. You might be saying 71% of people use the internet in Russia? Well, come on, of course, that makes sense why, they get rid of shortwave. Everyone uses the internet there. But then you gotta remember, number one, that 31%, or I guess 29%, of individuals don't use the internet. Meaning they're now down to really TV, radio, or newspapers. Russia, probably most TV is probably, in some regard, geared towards the government. Newspapers probably are. And in many cases, so is radio. Now, a lot of people won't have a problem with that, but those who do want other media and alternative media can now use shortwave radio. So out of that 30%, you still probably get about, 5 to 10% that still does listen to shortwave radio for news. And that'll probably go down still to hundreds of thousands of individuals who are consumers of Radio Free Europe. Now, Radio Free Europe says, yeah, well, we're going to switch to the internet, and, we'll switch to the internet, and you just got to join us on the web. Well, here's another problem now. They're being very stupid, and they're putting all their eggs in one basket. Right. Radio Free Europe and the Broadcasting Board of Governors is sitting there saying, well, they can just follow us to the internet. They can just follow us to the web, and that'll be that. Follow us to the internet, no problem there. Well, there is a problem. Russia has the ability to block websites that they don't like. So who's to say it's someone at, the Russian capital and the government won't take 5 seconds, type in RFERL, Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty, .org, into their filter, boop, and then it's done. And then what? People can get past it with, filters and everything, but is everyone going to really be that tech savvy to do that? I think it's a very stupid decision of theirs to cut Radio Free Europe and to do what they're doing. I think it's very idiotic. I really do. But, that's what they do over there. That's just what they do. It's a shame to say it, but it's just what they do. But it's just what they do over there. Just how it is, what it is, and that's all that there is to it. Personally, if I were in charge of them and I had to make cuts or something to it, you know what I would do? Out of the 20 frequencies that they use, maybe cut it down to 5 or 6, but still at least have shortwave there for the audience that uses it still. May not be huge, but there's still people who listen. So there's that. The other piece of bad news, unfortunately, is that the Voice of America just closed a transmitting station today abruptly. It's I think it's called the Iranwala transmitting station in Sri Lanka. It was a powerhouse station of several 250 kilowatt transmitters, and it covered most of Asia, the Middle East, and Africa. Housed about 20 transmissions. The good news is that all the transmissions were switched to different sites, so none of them actually went off the air. However, now this transmitting station with all its transmitters is closed and will be dismantled, unfortunately. They cited the reason for closing it is that it is too expensive to maintain and too much of a hassle to upkeep. So that said, it's been a bad week, especially for the US, because we've lost the Radio Free Europe, or will lose it, and also lost a transmitting site for the Voice of America. Though the good news of that, again, is that the transmissions themselves were just switched to different sites. Bad news is that the transmitters themselves are going to be gone. So, it's a real shame. What can you do? I imagine as long as VORW keeps going, we'll have this trend to keep continuing, but maybe there'll be some good news from time to time to, cancel it out. The good news, at least, is that there's still stuff to listen to on shortwave. That's some good news, at least. Speaking of, let's turn on the radio and let's see what there is to hear. And let's see what shortwave has to offer. So let's pull up my little chair here and let's start listening. This is a weak station from Argentina coming in. They're doing some work on their transmitters. This is Radio Havana, Cuba. Radio Exterior de España. Brother Stare. Radio Exterior de España on another frequency.
Episodes will profit your soul and cheer your spirit. Each episode
EWTN Radio.
Insights, wisdom, and humor.
Does nothing until he reveals it to his servants, the prophets, first.
Right.
See? And then the sign is given, and the scripture is identified.
Brother
That's
Stare.
the voice of the sign. See the voice of the sign of Moses?
At his baptism in the
who had a meeting in Warsaw with his counterpart
Radio Romania
in Poland and
International.
Turkey to discuss the security challenges in the region. The meeting came ahead of the NATO summit due on July 8th and 9th.
Murmur against the voice.
More Brother Stare.
Then they stop.
Get some music.
In a commune community. I lived in a kibbutz where everything is kind of, if you leave something somewhere, it's free for somebody else to pick up and eat. If you leave your food somewhere, it may not be there when you come back because somebody else might have taken it. That's communal living. Or picking up after somebody else, or cleaning.
Guess they're talking about communal living.
You wouldn't even probably want to do anywhere.
World music. The Vatican. Radio Havana, Cuba. This station is called Radio Biafra. It's broadcast to Nigeria. It's supposed to tell people to rise up against their government. Surprised it's actually making it in here. This station is kind of mumbling, but it's coming all the way from Tanzania.
Out of that mindset.
also for the security of the entire Euro-Atlantic region, is to identify a framework for cooperation and...
That's digital mode. Coming in real strong. Saudi Arabia.
mano y la llevando. فلا يصل الإنسان إلى ذلك.
E disse o Senhor: qual é, pois, o mordomo fiel e prudente?
Congratulations. Boys are with you, and how old are they, and what are their names?
Jay is 6, and Cooper is 3, and Anderson is 1.
Okay. And have they been practicing all the way from Texas, their debt-free scream?
Yes. Y'all been practicing?
Ooh, that's just a little example of what you can still hear on shortwave today, which is still a good amount, but getting less and less, unfortunately. Not every station that goes off will impact you directly, and 90% of them won't. 90% of these stations that sign off you'll never have listened to, but at some point, one station will sign off that you'll wish hadn't. And it'll be sad. Shame to say. Well, anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take a very short break, get some water, get a donut, and, yes, there are donuts here. Krispy Kreme, 2012. And, then after that, and that will direct us to the next segment of our program. Now, dear listeners, we now present you with the review of the latest uploads. The last VORW program was uploaded on May 29th, 2016. This was VORW show number 122. On June 1st, 2016, Energy Crisis Review number 150, the Red Bull Summer Edition, was uploaded. This review, of course, was somewhat iconic in nature due to the fact that a cat actually did hop up on the table whilst filming. The cat is not mine, but of course I'm on some fairly good terms with the cat. But I think the cat knew what it was doing the whole time. I think it did. I think it knew exactly what it was doing. Nonetheless, though, it was posted around a bit, and the view garnered around 68,000 views in just a matter of days. Because people like cats. That's all you need to do. Just shove a cat in there, and that's what you get. On June 4th, 2016, Long John Silver's in Too Much Oil random video. I was in the process of traveling during that time, and due to that, I didn't really get a review in. So, I made a little random video, you can say, to kind of fill the void, you know, fill that void, and, you know, in place of any sort of reviews, where I just babbled on for 8 minutes about Long John Silver's. On June 6th, 2016, the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest Qualifier 2016 was aired. Of course, that was talked about earlier, but I went there, and instead of being able to see the race, I saw the Nathan's Qualifier, and I decided to film it and upload it, and there it is. On June 8th, 2016, Energy Crisis Review number 151, Mountain Dew Kickstart, was produced. Filmed with the old camera, which caused up quite a stir. Many people were upset by it, which really surprised me. So the next day, I filmed the Wendy's Bacon Mozzarella Burger review with the HD camera, which led to people begging me to go back to the old camera. Today, June 10th, I reviewed the Taco Bell Flatbread Sandwiches, food review, which are actually okay from Taco Bell, which is surprising to me. And with that, I used the old camera, which now garnered a positive reaction. So, we'll see, but I think I'll use the old camera while I'm here, and people who don't like it can just grin and bear it and just say, well, I know he'll be switching back at some point, so that'll be that. Without further ado now, ladies and gentlemen, coming up next is not a night walk, but a daytime walk. It's not a daytime walk either, it's more of a late evening walk. Darkness is starting to fill the sky as I perambulate the streets and sharing my little digressions while I walk. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoy the program and the contents therein. We now present to you, we'll just call it Walk, quote unquote, to be all dramatic. It's Walk. Enjoy. This is VORW, the voice of the Report of the Week. You're listening to VORW, the voice of the Report of the Week. On this evening, on the 8th of June, 2016. This evening, it's after 8 o'clock. Perhaps 8:30 in time, to be exact. I don't have any sort of timekeeping apparatus on me at the moment. But I am taking a walk tonight, this evening. A windy evening, a windy Wednesday evening, to be honest, and I began this constitutional, but 5 to 10 minutes ago, and as I was walking down the street, I wanted to separate myself from some of the houses and start getting to an intersection where I'm gonna get off of this road and get away from, all the traffic, or at least a good deal of it. Not to say I'll be getting away from all of it, because I won't be, but I'll be getting away from, a lot of it. As I do reiterate, it's a Wednesday evening, Wednesday the 8th of June, 2016, and very windy tonight, but it is a remarkably beautiful evening, I will say that. You only get evenings like this maybe once every year, maybe 6 months to be very generous, but at least at least once a year, maybe more. I understand it's still daylight, though daylight is now fleeting. I don't think it'll be around for much longer, but I don't know. It's very aesthetically pleasing outside. I mean, you don't get an evening like this one very often. I mean, you get pretty sunsets here and there, you get some nice foggy, rainy days, but you don't really get a combination where you're able to get some wind, dark clouds, then combine that with a little bit of a golden sunshine too. You don't really get that combination. But it's just a beautiful, beautiful evening right now. I mean, remarkable. I was gonna record, but I couldn't press that record button. I just had to take a moment and just observe the evening. I thought it was just quite beautiful. Nature is a very beautiful thing. It really is. But as I will go into detail describing the sky itself, because there was a bit of a rain today, and so there was some rain today. Those showers and thunderstorms and cells have since passed us, though some of the cloud cover does remain. So I'd say the sky above me is about, in total probably around 50 to 60% cloud cover. Bands of clouds just spanning the sky. Bands of just dark clouds spanning the sky to my left, to my right, straight ahead and behind me. And in separating these bands is in patches of a golden, reddish-colored sky. So you got a beautiful contrast of these dark clouds, these bands of dark clouds, filling the sky. You can't actually see the sun at all. There's just these bands of dark clouds filling the sky, and then in between these bands you get to see some of that beautiful reddish golden sky from the setting sun. And then couple that, there's a breeze of around 20 to 30 miles per hour, gusts around 30, but probably a steady, 10 to 20 miles per hour. But, just have the trees blowing around. And just having the trees blowing around like that, showing, the leaves, the undersides of the leaves, and hearing the leaves blowing about. It gives you a real autumn-like feel. It really does, but this is anything but, of course. Let's let this truck pass. But really, it is anything but. It's a very early summer day, or I guess not quite summer yet. It's a day, however, in early June, and it's a nice day. Quite a nice day. I mean, as I said, you just don't get too many like this one where, you just get all the wind, that real autumn-like wind. But then you couple that with just, an autumn sky, but with, summer temperatures. Very, very pretty, very unique combination in my mind, at least. And a very pretty one, at least. So we're walking down a road now, just past the corporate building. Saw a suited employee getting in his car. He was wearing a black suit, a white shirt, and looked like a blue and white dotted tie. It was a nice one. I didn't get to see the cut of the suit, though, but I could see he was wearing one very clearly. If you're wondering, today I'm on this walk, I'm wearing black dress shoes, dark gray, or are they black? No, very dark gray colored dress socks. And I'm wearing that with a dark gray 6x1 double-breasted suit with a little bit of an off-white colored shirt, a green pattern tie. And I'm kind of wearing an impromptu three-piece suit I got on, because it is a little chilly. It's probably in the 60s or 50s outside. So I got on a black cardigan with a dark gray trim to it. And then over that, of course, I have the dark gray 6x1 double-breasted jacket. But the dark gray, the cardigan, because of the trim, it looks more like it's a matching vest, since I have this jacket buttoned while I walk. So it's pretty much like I'm wearing a little three-piece suit, but really just got the cardigan going for extra warmth on this walk. Because I figure by the time I'm done, the sun will have set, and the stars will have come out, and the temperatures may have dropped a little bit as well. Yep. So here we walk. This walk is going to be a little bit longer in length. We'll see specifically if I decide to manage to walk a certain way or not. For all new listeners, this is a pretty popular segment. People like the night walks. Yeah, this is, I guess it's a very early night walk. This is an evening walk, not really a night walk this time around. But, pretty. There's a plane. There goes a plane, a jet airliner. And there's the moon making a little bit of an appearance. Looks kind of like the DreamWorks moon, that crescent moon just appearing behind a band of dark clouds. gives that, as I said, if you could imagine the DreamWorks animation studios, their little logo with the moon kind of looks like that. The sky's a little brighter though, but already it's starting to darken. This is going to be an extended walk. Usually at this point, I don't usually go down this road this far, but I've extended my route now. So I take this one road all the way to the very end. It kind of goes into this wooded area away from the buildings where there's kind of some fields and into some forest. I don't know, some people say I don't like walking in there at night, but I don't care. I don't care. Some people, they're for good reason, usually, afraid of the dark. Either the dark or what's in it, but I like the night. I love the dark. It's my favorite time. Yeah, it's the only time I really feel comfortable. Everyone else is sleeping and resting. When it's just silence, It's just silence. You kind of own the place. You can walk down the street. You'll be the only person there. And you can kind of, when nobody else is there, you can kind of make the world, your own in a sense. And in so much that, I always wish for, almost a simpler time without any constant in your face social media, smartphones, etc., etc. And here comes a car. poor guy. We're in the middle of nowhere, and now he sees this guy coming dressed in a 3-piece suit. Oh, now he's speeding up. He's getting out of here. Who wouldn't, though, right? But anyways, so at night when you're the only one there, you can kind of sculpt the world in a sense to how you like it. When you're the only person there, you can live how you kind of want to. When I'm out in the middle of the night, I don't really see any of that social media or smartphones, or in some ways that modernization hit me in the face. And it's kind of comforting in a sense, You can just get some peace and quiet, and it's almost like going back in time in a sense. It's really difficult to explain, but I think some of us maybe know what I'm getting at. Now we're approaching the end of the road here, and I'm going to make a U-turn soon. This road still curves up a little bit, but it's just to an office, so I don't know, there's nothing really worth doing over there. The last thing I want is the security, saying, "Hey, what are you doing here?" So let's go up here, and then I'll make a little U-turn. How does that sound? Making the U-turn right now. U-turning it up. And here we go. Okay. Back to where we came. I realize that I haven't done a lecture on time for a while. And I know there's a bunch of new listeners to VORW, because the last time I did a lecture on time was a few months ago. So maybe we'll subject everyone to another one of those masterpieces, and maybe we'll do that on this walk. Before that, to my left, it's kind of crazy. There's this abandoned house. You know, this is now, and there's an office way down the road, but otherwise there's just fields and woods, and then all wooded in is this old building here. This is like something you'd find in like a creepy story or something. But it's pretty neat, I find it. It's like looks like this old summer camp, believe it or not. But it's all overgrown and abandoned, and you know, it's rotting away, and some of the you know, the windows are boarded up and it's falling apart. And there's an old little gate with the sign that's getting all grown over, and you know, foliage and ivy and all dark inside. That's falling apart, decrepit in the middle of nowhere. See, I don't see anything scary in that, though. I don't. I don't know, I just don't. I know some people would be really creeped out by it. But I don't. I look at it and I think abandoned building. You know? I wonder if I could live in there or something. I don't know, that's what I think. Don't think I'd fare too well if I made that decision, though. Anyways, well, here we are. I was taking one of these walks yesterday, and I just couldn't help but think about time. I was thinking about that today, too. But my thoughts were too disorganized to really do anything with them. It was just, you know, a stream of consciousness, and very disorganized. There's just one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. I didn't really have much to say, you know, in that matter. Let me just see this one. I imagine not too many people go where I am right now. There's still a sign hanging up on a street lamp, on a lamp post from 2014, and nobody took it down yet. Kind of relieving, though. I like that. Anyways, I was just thinking about time. I don't know. Wish it didn't seem like it went by so fast. It's the one thing I hate about time. You know? It's not really time itself. 24 hours is 24 hours. 24 hours is the same to a 7-year-old or to a 77-year-old. It's a span of 24 hours. It's not like a day to, you know, a 7-year-old child, which does seem as though it's an eternity in most cases. It's not like a day is actually 52 hours. It's 24 hours. As is the day to the elderly, it's 24 hours. What changes our perception of time. That's what changes. How we perceive it. And there was a study shown that people of every age really perceive a day as being the same length. When it comes to spans of time, the older you get, shorter it seems. You know. And that's why even probably many of us, we look back and we say, I can't believe X event was Y years ago. You know. I think many of us end up saying that at some point or another. Myself included. And, it's true. Give you an example. The time for me has, you know, it's been benchmarks. You know, it's been different benchmarks. You're ever, you know, in life, especially when you're younger, you're ever changing. There's different things going on. But then there comes a point when you kind of find your place in life. Find, alright, well, this is what it's going to be. And this is what my life is now. Could be anything. Could be finding a career, education. Could be different types of relationships. It could be you have however much money now, or anything in between. But there comes a point in many people's lives where we kind of find where we want to be. We kind of settle down there. Okay, that's just how it is. And to me, that happened in the summer of 2014. Not much has changed since then. I mean, yeah, there have been some major changes, but the way I live my life, it's really the way we want to live our lives. Once we find out how we want to live our lives, we have that grand structure now, you know, as I reiterate, how we want to live day to day. And then based on what happens thereafter, you know, we change things, but we always follow now this basic guide as to how we want to live our lives. And I came to that determination during the summer of 2014. Kind of realized, well, you know, this is how I am. I kind of found, for instance, how I want to dress, how I want to act, how I want to look at different things. And since then I've kind of been with adaptations and learning lessons here and there. I've been using that and modifying it ever since. But because of that, I mean, since 2014, everything has just seemed like a blur in terms of time. I mean, who knows? Maybe I found what I liked doing, and time is going fast because you're enjoying yourself. Who's to say? But I think they do say that time always passes with age. But anyway, since the summer of 2014, I mean, I just don't know. I'm walking down this road. 2 years ago, I was pretty much doing this exact same thing. Wearing the exact same clothing. It's just disbelief. I look back, I say, no, 2014, that wasn't 2 years ago. That was about maybe a month ago, 2014. It's not 2015 yet. It's just 2014. Oh, no, it's 2016. Before you know it, it's going to be 2017. And then 2020. 2030. 2050, and that's it. You know? I mean, my God. 2011 was 5 years ago. 2009 was 7 years ago. 2007 was 9 years ago. 2001 was 15 years ago. Almost 16. And I mean, I remember all this stuff just clear as day. Even back to 2001, I mean, people always make fun of me because I have, you know, a baby face. They say, oh yeah, you're 10 years old, you know. Well, I'm not 10 years old, I'm far older than that. And I will tell you, I remember 9/11, you know. I remember that day. I remember seeing the news broken, watching the news. I remember where I was when I found out it happened. And I remember that, and that's almost, 15 years ago now. I just think it's insane. I do. I'm at a traffic light. There's some traffic coming. It says push button, wait for green light. So I keep pushing the button, but nothing's happening. Okay. We're good. And we're crossing the street. But I just think it's insane how we perceive it. I mean, I remember back in 2007, this one vacation I went on to Canada and Newfoundland. I mean, I remember that clear as day. I'd say, 07, that was the way your mind perceives it. I went up to Newfoundland, and on that vacation I went maybe around a year and a half, 2 years ago, that's it. No, you find out it's 9 years ago now. I mean, that's a decade. I can't even conceive that idea. And then what's even scarier than that is when you realize the rate of things that changes, I mean, since 07 was one of the last good years, in my opinion. I think it all went down a hill in around 08, 09. That's when smartphones came around. I think there's some real correlation there. There's a guy driving here. Hold on. Okay, this one car just drove right by me. Checked out the driver, but he didn't really look like a threat. He wasn't looking at me. Just he's still going down the road there. Unless he makes a turn, I'll get out of here, but otherwise it looks like he's just going at a snail's pace. Now he's stopping. Hold on. Now he's turning. If he slows down here, I'm just going to bolt. Alright. No regrets. I'm just getting out of here. I'm going to run. He's coming back up the road now towards me. I'm going to put this down. He made another pass. Now he's going back down behind me, away from me there. Not yet out of sight. Now he is out of sight, out of mind. I say that was very weird. This one car was coming up behind me real slow. Real slow. And He drove right past me, okay? Drove right past me. And I didn't see him looking at me, so I didn't think anything was up there. Okay, but then he goes down the street, and he doesn't even pull into a driveway or anything. He just makes a U-turn in the street, turns the car back and starts coming right at me again. Snail's pace once again. Drives by me. I don't think he was looking for directions or anything. I mean, I have people stop and ask me for directions too, and, you know, they kind of drive like that, but they're a little more inquisitive in what they're doing. But he just drove right by me again, this time facing me, and I don't know. I just found that very odd. Maybe he was lost. Maybe he was trying to perfect his driving. But I mean, what if there was something more sinister there? What if it was something trying to scope me out, you know? I mean, how do I know there wasn't a camera in there? You know, getting some pictures of, you know, me from the front and from the back. I don't know. Just another odd occurrence of many. I'm looking back, don't see him. There's a little bird. Hello, bird. Well, anyways. So, you know, one of the scarier things is the rate that things advance at. I mean, you look at how slow, or how you know, just how time has progressed since 2007, which seems at lightning speed. Now look at the world back then, in many regards, and see how it is today, and you'll see just how much things have changed. I mean, smartphones, social media, fashion, world governments, politics, policies, societal norms, and everything in between. It's just so different. And that's just 9 years ago. It seems like it's 2 years, maybe. That's a scary thing. And you know, if you don't keep up with all this stuff, it's almost as though you're persecuted against. It really is. People treat you like you're scum. If you don't know this, if you don't know that, or if you don't want to get this or get that, or dress a certain way, you know, you're scum, you're trash, you know, you're the lowest of the low. If you don't, you know, and it's literally how people treat you. Some, at least, not all, but some. You know, you don't dress a certain way, you're scum. You like this, you're scum. You don't have a smartphone? Kill yourself. That's what people say. That's how people act to it. In just such a violent nature. I'll give you an example. I mean, last night I filmed a review with my old camera. You know how it is, the old 480p camera. And, I don't know. I just get such a bombardment of people saying, you know, what the hell's wrong with this camera? Yeah, some people even said they were gonna unsubscribe because of the camera that I was using. Just because of the camera. Just because it wasn't HD and up to par. So I had to switch to the HD one today, and we'll see how people react to it. I don't know. Some people I think just accept change with open arms too much. I'm just part of a dying ideology that just says, you know, why can't we just have some things a certain way? Why does everything have to change? Why do you have to get a new model of this? Why can't it be fine as it is? I guess that's just how most people think. I guess that's a human way, you know. I don't know, I guess that's how it is. But I just like certain things, and that's what I do, and I've already been way left behind. I mean, the way I dress is from, 20 years ago, not 30 years ago. The way I talk is apparently outdated. The technology I use is outdated. The hobby I'm interested in is outdated. Even the cars that I liked are outdated. But if you're able to find that little niche for yourself to keep doing what you like to do, God bless you. You know? You made it. Well, anyways, though, that's that. It's just so easy to get left behind, and willingly or otherwise, I myself have willingly kind of abandoned the present. And that's another reason, as I was getting to earlier, why I enjoy night walks in the night when there's less people around. Now here comes a car again. Is this that same guy? Snail's pace. Going slow, coming from behind me. Is this the same car? No, it's not. The other car is an SUV. This is a sedan, a gray sedan. Let's see who's driving though. Coming up real slow behind me, starting to pass. Different driver, okay. Okay, good. So, you know, it's just... I willingly left myself behind, and that's just how I enjoy it, but it's just silly, the ridicule that you sometimes get because you're not like everyone else. But it comes down, I guess, to the human instinct of tribalism. You know, everyone has part of their tribes, and if you're not part of any tribe, everyone will hate you. That's how some of the nomads were back, you know, hundreds of thousands of years ago. As I'm sure you can hear, the wind is still going. The sky has now all but darkened. And in the far distance ahead of me, almost at the horizon, there's some real huge bands of black clouds, you know, now due to lack of sunlight, though they were dark with sunlight. And still some real fading little patches of that dimming golden sky. The moon is high atop us all. I see a distant, I think one of the planets, perhaps Venus, coming out. Night is all but here. But that's just one of many lectures on time. I can go back. We still got a little bit of time before I get back home, so maybe we'll tell a little story. That car was weird, though. Wow. Talk about coincidence. Sometimes, you know, you can just... Who's to say about that guy driving by? I mean, the odds are, you know, or that he was just driving by. But there's what ifs, you know? I mean, there's people who, I mean, not every day, but probably every week, or maybe every day, I don't know the prevalence. People every day, almost, let's say, who die when they're walking. They're either hit by a car, they're abducted, could be a drive-by shooting, mistaken identity, and you got killed because they thought you were someone else. I mean, who's to say? And this stuff happens. It's real life. It's the real world. It's not, you know, some made-up fairy tale. Who's to say this wasn't, you know, a person with ill intentions? I don't know. Well, here we walk. It's, as I said, getting ever darker. I was re-listening to an old VORW program. Interesting to hear some of the old shows, how different they were. You know? Just how different they were. It's, if you ever want to kill some time, go back to 2014. Take a little trip back to 2014 with VORW. And, you'll be, I don't know if you'll be as shocked as I was. I mean, it's just because I'm the person that makes the shows, you know. But I was listening to some of the ones, especially from the summer of 2014, when I, when I was just doing these shows almost every other day, just pumping them out nonstop. Just real, I don't know, there's something else to really see the different style I was doing back then. It's just a lot more rushed, a lot more informal. Very odd. Such a major change, yet so subtly done. Very interesting. Usually it's the person that does the changing that's the last one to notice. I don't know when it changed. That's a very interesting observation I noticed. I was going to listen over to one of the ones I did from where I talked about my trip to Hawaii. I found it interesting. That's just a little side note, a little annotation at the bottom of the page. In terms of the audio world, of course, you can't actually have that because it's audio. But you know what I mean. A little footnote, I guess. Let's see how much time we killed, and let's see if we want to kill any more time or if we're good. Let's see this. 42 minutes, let's bring it up to 45. So after this program, I figure we'll get to the, the fan mail segment, where we will read and respond to your letters, and we'll discuss the answer to the question of the program. What is your favorite color? What was your favorite color? Clear. It's not included. It's not a legitimate answer, not allowed. So it's a no-go. If you say clear, I'm not reading it. But everything except clear. And of course, as I said, my favorite color was black. And it's a great color, I think. I mean, already, night is the blackness of the night sky, the blackness of space. It's already starting to become dark out now. The streetlights are all on, and everything is starting to become just shadows as we're wrapping up this walk. I don't know what time it is now. It's probably after 9, 9:15, 9:30 p.m. But black is my favorite color. Interestingly enough, what you're about to hear, specifically, the fan mail portion, is you're going to notice a similarity within many of the letters I got. And it's not the fact that the name of all the writers is Nick, as one person pointed out. I just found that amusing. How many people of the same name listen? Though maybe there's just one guy named Nick, and he writes like 20 times. Who knows? I really don't think so, though. I think that's a common name. But you're going to notice that one color is more common than all the others in terms of responses. Maybe it'll take you by surprise, as it took me by surprise. Maybe it won't. Or maybe it will. Maybe it'll be a show stealer. Who can say? You be the judge. Alright? It may be my show, but you're the listener, and Your opinions are always greatly appreciated. This is VORW, the Voice Report of the Week. Fan mail segment begins after the tone. This is VORW, the Voice of the Report of the Week. And this is the fan mail segment of the program, now the second half of the show, where we read and respond to your letters, whatever they may be, your letters of support, your letters of criticism, your shout-outs, your own statements which you'd like to make, and the answers to questions, or questions of your own, to me. Now, the question for this program, of course, was, what is your favorite color? Okay. We had a couple interesting answers, and we'll get to those in a minute. But first, the question for this program, okay? The question for this program is another simple one. Simply, the question is, what is your favorite, okay, what is your favorite carbonated beverage? What is your favorite carbonated beverage? Meaning, what is your favorite beverage that's carbonated? It has to have those little effervescent bubbles in it. It has to have little bubbles in it. It has to be carbonated. If it's carbonated and you like it, go ahead and share it. Could it be a type of soda? Or pop, as some say. What could it be? It could be Pepsi, Coke, Cherry Coke, Diet Coke, Sprite, Mountain Dew, Monster, Rockstar, 5 Hour. Well, no, 5 Hour Energy doesn't count. That's not carbonated. I almost got myself there. Do you just like drinking seltzer water? You know, you just drink that? Or anything in between. What's your favorite carbonated beverage? And it could be any type of beverage. Could be energy drink. Could be non-energy drink. Could be soda. Could be a type of water that's carbonated. All it is just has to be carbonated to be a viable answer. Okay, so what's your favorite carbonated beverage, ladies and gentlemen? That's what I want to know. And that's the question I got for you. What's your carbonated beverage? Do write with your answers. You have one of 3 ways to choose from. You may write to us via YouTube. Go to youtube.com, the About tab, send message, type the contents of your message, and send it off there. If you'd like to use email to write instead, send us an email at repweekindreview1@gmail.com. That's REPWEKINTER via EW1 and the number 1 at gmail.com. Or write to us at VORWinfo@gmail.com. That's VORWINFO@gmail.com. Okay. That said, we'll begin with this letter, which I accidentally missed in the last one. And let us begin. Hello, Review Bra. To answer this week's question, I found about your channel through 4chan in 2014, probably on FIT, FA, or TV. That's the fitness, fashion, or television boards. The mixed reactions to your channel intrigued me, and I began watching some of the videos. The thing that made me keep coming back to your channel is how genuine you are in your videos and with the viewers. You didn't compromise yourself or your content when you get negative feedback. Related to this, there's been something I've been wanting to get your thoughts on. Do you personally feel that society, teachers, media, role models, etc. lied to you? As you grew up, we were all told to be unique people and find our own path in life. I think you're one of the best examples of this, but from all the hate and negative feedback that you get from this channel, it feels more like society values what is expected rather than people who are willing to go outside of what is normative. It just seems like originality is spoken of as a valuable trait, but in practice, you and your channel, for instance, it becomes vilified. Just want to get your thoughts on this observation. As always, keep up the good work. Well, thank you for writing. That's from Adam. Adam, thank you for writing, and I agree. I think you're totally right. I think that's just blatant hypocrisy. I think they all did lie to us. I always talk about individuality like it's something to be praised, yet some of those people, you know, whap on about it and talk about and yap on about it and say, yeah, well, you know, be yourself, be yourself. And then when you are yourself, they end up chastising you because you're different from them and different from what they expect. So they're just a bunch of lying hypocrites. And it's a shame. Either just preach it and stand up to it, or don't preach it at all. I know it's something to try to make people feel good about themselves, but it's just lies. It's a shame, but it's lies. In most cases. Not all, but in most. Dear VORW, I thought you might like this website. If you haven't seen it already, I'm continuing to listen to your shortwave radio shows and send this as a way to provoke even more great shows for you. The history of number stations and radar signals can be seen as a kind of hidden history, and I personally feel like this kind of information would benefit your perspective and love of the subject. Much respect from Tim. Well, Tim, I have a surprise for you. This is, you can go here. It's called numbersstations.com. That's N-U-M-B-R numbers, N-U-M-B-E-R-S dash stations.com. Numbers-stations.com. Numbersstations.com. And, I got a surprise for you. Would you believe it or not if I told you that I actually worked in creating this website that you're looking at to get your number station info? Because I kid you not, I did. I actually worked personally with all the creators of the site. I contributed a lot of data and information to this site, and many of the recordings of some of the more recent stations actually came from me, believe it or not. And in terms of resources, some of my own YouTube material is linked at the bottom there. So I think it's very interesting. But yes, absolutely, I know of that site, and I actually worked on its formation in 2014 when they first started building the site. I was there, and I helped build it firsthand. So I was there. There even used to be a message board with the site. I don't think there is anymore, but there used to be a message board with the site, and I was one of the head moderators of it. And people would post their loggings of the stations there, and it was some fun times. Yep, so yeah, no, I know that station, that site inside and out. I actually helped build the site, believe it or not. This guy said I was featured for 1 second in some video called 10 Best Pizza Chain Restaurants, and I saw myself for 1 second, and that was beautiful. I bet that got me, 20,000 subscribers from that 1 minute there. 1 second. Ron here. My favorite color is white because, he says, white is a symbol of purity in the literary world, and because white snow on a winter morning. Love your VORWs. Listening to the latest one right now helps my productivity immensely. Have a good day from Ron. Well, thank you, Ron. And white is a nice color. Again, it really, in terms of dress shirts, white is my favorite color for dress shirts. It's all I ever wear, really. And white is a great color in that regard. As you all know, my favorite color is black, but white's a very nice color, too. Hi, Review Brought. To answer your question, my favorite color is purple and all its different shades. I find it quite aesthetically pleasing and versatile as well. It can be subdued, mysterious, and formal, but also light, cheerful, and easy on the eyes. I don't really know why, but I also relate it to mystical or ecclesiastic matters. Ecclesiastic matters, I apologize there. My second favorite color is gray because it reminds me of darkened skies. And I agree with you, however, with the fact that black goes well with everything. Once I was having a hard time finding a tie to go with a mint-colored dress shirt, and I remembered I had a nice black tie, and lo and behold, it matched perfectly. For a question, this is kind of similar to the one I was asking everyone else. What is your favorite soda? I find Dr. Pepper Cherry to be most enjoyable. However, I've heard of countries like Japan where they have an immense variety of flavors of soda, and even some unusual ones like watermelon and cucumber soda. I'm sure there must be a plethora of great-tasting sodas there. And finally, are you still keeping a night owl sleep schedule? If so, could you tell us the pros and cons of such a style? Hope you have a great day, Norman. Well, thank you for writing, Norman. Norman wrote. My favorite soda type to consume is just standard Coke. Standard Coke, not cocaine or crack, but Coca-Cola is a favorite of mine. I just enjoy it. I enjoy that nice sweetness that goes along with it. Though vanilla Coke is a favorite of mine, honestly, if you could even get your hands on it anymore. That nice vanilla-y flavor is just perfect there. And I do keep a night owl schedule. I go to sleep most nights around between 3 and 7 a.m. Usually that's when I go to bed. But yes, no, I keep a full night owl schedule. And that's what I'm doing. Purple's a very nice color, by the way. Purple for sure is one of my favorites too. Not my absolute favorite, but it's definitely up there. I think it's a very, very nice color. I think so. Yeah, you couldn't have said it better, my friend. This guy commented on the flatbread review from Taco Bell. He said it looks nothing like it does in the ad, and it made me laugh. I just had to say, yeah, you better believe. Yeah, good stuff. On to the next. This person writes, hello. Oh, hi. I would have to say my favorite color is clear. No, I'm just kidding. My favorite color is purple. My favorite color in the past used to be pink, but as I grew older, I found that purplish colors are much more beautiful and expressive. I have one quick question, Review Broad. Do you prefer dogs or cats more, and why? From Grayson. Well, thank you for writing, Grayson. And almost got me on the clear there, but purple, another for purple. Another for purple, and purple is a very nice color, so I don't blame all of you. Dogs or cats? Why? Well, I've dealt recently with both dogs and cats. Should this question have been asked a year ago, I would have said dogs. But I'm starting to cross the line now. I'm starting to say cats. Now, dogs have that loyalty, you know, they're a man's best friend. But I'm just saying in terms of effort and trying to care for a dog, it's a lot of money going down the drain. I mean, I shouldn't say that, but, you know. Listen, you know what I mean. You know, I don't hate pets, I don't hate animals, but, I mean, look at it this way. You got a dog, and you got to buy the food, you got to just constantly groom it, take care of it, you got to go out for all the walks. Whereas cats, they're kind of, I mean, you still got to feed them, take care of them, but they're more self-sufficient than dogs are, you know. They're potty trained, you know, they know how to use the bathroom on their own, most cats do. I'm still divided, but I'm starting to lean towards cats now. I am, especially after the one cat, you know, was center stage in that review. I mean, how can I not now? You know? On to the next. Hello, Report of the Week. I'm sorry if you've answered a question like this before, but I figured I'd just ask. I notice that in your videos, a lot of your suits have an influence from some sort of historical time period. I've noticed that you favor the larger and more baggy suits from around the late 40s and 50s. And I was wondering, are you at all a fashion history buff? I've studied it myself, and it's interesting to see a YouTuber who seems to have an interest in it but doesn't make videos about it. If you are a fashion history buff, would you ever be interested in making a video or possibly a series on what you know, or perhaps possibly about your favorite types of historical fashion? I would be interested in seeing it, and I'm sure others would be as well. That's interesting to say. I'm interested in fashion, you know, especially from the early 1900s, including, you know, wing collars and detachable collars and the hats from the time, frock coats, you know, all that. Kind of the transient clothing that was popular from the Victorian and Edwardian eras, and that transition that happened when the Victorian clothing kind of became the modern suits we know today, and I think it's a very interesting time in fashion that interests me very greatly. I haven't done any videos on it, but I guess I could, and thank you for writing. Hello, Review Brother. I hope you are doing well and enjoying your travels. To start off with the subject of traveling, do you know that Shia LaBeouf is currently doing some sort of endeavor in the name of art called #, Take Me Anywhere, where he posts his location on the internet and random people can pick him up and take him anywhere. I was wondering, since you are out and traveling the country, if you saw Mr. LaBeouf's coordinates nearby your present location, would you pick him up and take him somewhere? And whether or not you would actually do something like that, say hypothetically you did pick him up, where would you take him? I wouldn't pick Mr. LaBeouf up. I wouldn't. I'll be honest. I wouldn't pick him up. I might drive by them real slow and pretend I am going to pick them up and then just floor it and get out of there and screw with them. But if I had to pick them up, if I was like threatened at gunpoint, saying, you're going to pick Shia LaBeouf up or else, we'd take him to, I'd go to Five Guys and hope he pays for it. That'd be kind of nice. Get a good meal for free. Another travel-related question. In your current travels or any possible future ones, do you think that you'll be going to Disneyland or Disney World, and would you consider doing a food review or a review of food in a Disney park? Personally, I think it would be epic if you did that. I couldn't give you a yes or no in that, because I honestly don't know. I might not. Who's to say? He also writes, let's see, I saw in the news back in mid-May that a meteor came into Earth's atmosphere, leaving a huge fireball, and it was visible in the northeast United States. Because it happened around midnight, that gave me wondering and thinking about you. Were you by any chance out on a night walk and witnessed the meteor? I was not, nor did I see it, but I have seen meteors and the shooting stars on my night walks before. I've seen quite a few. You just look up in the sky when it's totally dark and you'll see them. You'll see them eventually. Not often, but one every hour or so, you'll see it. Guaranteed. There's stuff constantly coming into the atmosphere. Constantly. And he said, one of the VORWs, he said, you enjoy map making as a hobby. Could you elaborate more on that? What kind of maps? Maps of what, etc.? I would make world maps and kind of draw my own borders. Make little road maps for fun and everything in between. Just things like that. Sometimes I'd make little maps of the neighborhood and, and everything in between. But just make little random maps. And, for the last one, absolutely, I'll do that. Let's see. First is yes. And the second, sometimes not. Not as of late, but there have been a few times. But, more times not. More times not. On occasion, though, but more times not. Thank you for writing, sir. Greetings, Review Bureau. I really enjoy the food and drink reviews that you grace us with. I've only been subscribed for a few months, and the other day I heard you mention head nod. My curiosity got the best of me, so I had to click on some old videos to see for myself, and good stuff. I love when a new VORW comes out. I will be honest, it takes me a few nights to get through each episode. My nightly routine includes me sliding into bed with my PS Vita, a handheld video game unit, since I know you don't do video games, and turning on VORW and letting the soothing stories put me to slumber. Keep up the good fight. Love the content. Well, thank you for writing. Thank you for writing. And yeah, the head nod, that was something legendary right there. Hello, friend. Hope you are healthy and enjoying the visit. I'm listening to the back-to-back episodes of VORW number 32, where you discuss your trip to Hawaii and the story you wrote inspired by our car journey and a memorable rest stop. I could see that bathroom in my mind's eye. Yuck. These past shows are very enjoyable and restorative, so thank you for them. As for the question of a favorite color, that would be gray. The gray barn boards go after surviving harsh winters, or a soft cocooning fog that comes just before dawn, with the rolling clouds during an all-rain day. Oh, absolutely, that's a great color too. Gray is my second favorite. I'd also like to thank you for reintroducing me to Shortwave. As a child, I would play with my grandfather's radio whenever we visited. I loved trying to tune in all the sorts of different stations, and I remember the happiness I felt when I managed to get a clear signal from someplace far off. More talks about Shortwave would be most welcome, so please consider it. Now a question for you. What is your opinion on lapel flowers? As a Canadian, I think of an example of Pierre Trudeau, father of our present Prime Minister, or Hercule Poirot from Fiction, and David Suchet, I'm horrible with these names, I'm sorry, is my ideal actor for Poirot, portraying the character's exactness of action and dress beautifully. Thank you for all the wonderful shows. All the best from Jackie. Thank you for writing, Jackie. And lapel flowers, I think they could be worn. I just don't want them to be too gaudy. Some people say if you wear a lapel boutonniere, they call them. They say you're being a dandy. I don't like that. I don't know. I don't like that type of gaudiness with suits. However, I think if it's worn alright, if it's worn the right way, I think it could be very elegant. This person writes, so I just made this for you. That's a beautiful piece of work right there. It's me in a suit of armor riding the cat. Incredible. Thank you for that. Excellent episode, your best one yet. The cat was a great addition, and hopefully he becomes your new guest host from time to time. Here's my question. Can you please wear a red Make America Great Again Trump hat for the next episode? You can always say it was a troll/gag after, but watch your view count soar into the tens of thousands. All the best, mate, from Will. Well, thank you for writing, Will. And, the problem with that is they're expensive. Let's see, Donald Trump. Let's go to his website. I mean, listen, those hats aren't cheap. They aren't cheap. I was shocked. And you go to the shop, and let's see, headwear. I guess you'd want the official Donald Trump Make America Great Again cap, red. The only place online to purchase the official Make America Great Again classic rope hat as worn by Donald J. Trump himself. And, I mean, it's expensive. It's $25 with shipping and handling. It'll probably be around, let's see. It'll be expensive. It'll be around $30, I'm sure. $30-$40 for it. And because of that, you gotta get shipping and handling. So, if you're willing to buy it, I still might not wear it. You're taking a risk, but if you got the money to blow on it, this is the first letter we read. He says, hello again, reviewer. I think you may have forgotten to read the previous letter I had sent for VORW 122 through the YouTube inbox. I also may have just missed it since I usually end up listening to VORWs in chunks. Yep, no, I got it, and I read it first. My favorite color is also black, since I think it looks good in any situation. Wearing all black makes it easier to match clothes, and it makes any outfit more formal in a way that wearing all orange, for example, does not. I just find black to be a very versatile color in clothes, cars, and just about any other products. Also, since childhood, red was also a favorite color as well. This summer I'm traveling from Western Canada to Boston, and being someone from the Eastern States, is there any advice or anything interesting you can tell me about the area? Cheers and keep up the great work. Well, thank you, and if you're going to Boston, make sure you focus on it from a historical perspective, a historical point of view. Boston is a city that is so rich in history, and especially in history of the founding of the United States, and there's just many historical sites in there. Look it up. Especially go to sites that are run by the National Park Service if you are going to Boston and you want to tour it around. Very rich in history, and there's professional guides there as well, and I just recommend that. But, don't just deprive, unless you want to. I mean, that's what I would do, but, see what's there also at Boston, see if there's any good, whatever you want to do, any good parks, any good clubs, anything like that. If that's it. I know that's what people like, any good bars, But me, I'm all just about going to the parks and the history, and that's it. You know how I am. And thank you for writing, and black is a great color. Hello, Review Bra. I am here to ask you a question. I'm very interested in who your favorite comedians are. I don't really know if you're a comedian kind of guy. The thing I like about comedy is that there's so many different types. One of my favorite modern comedians is Bo Burnham. He does a different and original type of comedy that is purely genius, and he's just one of my recommendations. Like I said before, I just want to know what comedians you like. Thanks for reading this long, boring letter. I'm kind of a rambler, but goodbye. Thank you for writing, and it was not long or boring or rambling, so don't worry. It was not pages in length or anything, just a little paragraph. So, favorite comedians, let's see. I'm not one to really watch Comedy Central, nor do I watch comedians, but I kind of take what I can get. You know, if there's a comedian on and I find it appealing, I'll watch it. If it's not, it's not. But there's not someone who I, go to. It's nothing, no one who's like a go-to comedian who I'm, just always watching or what have you. I know a lot of people do, but I guess I just don't fall into that criteria specifically. Thank you very much for writing, though. On to the next. Hey, bro, I just wanted to let you know I appreciate what you do, and I hope you know that your videos help and inspire people, and they do for me at least. Keep up the good work, from Brett in Berkeley, California. Thank you for writing from California, Californian individual. Hi, Review Daddy. To answer your question from the last VORW, my favorite color is purple. More specifically, a very dark purple that borders on blue, but is still distinctly purple. Red used to be my favorite, but around sometime, perhaps 7th or 8th grade, everything changed, and I've been a purple boy ever since. Coincidentally, purple is also the color of the university I attend, although that did not affect my decision-making process. Last night as I was going to sleep, I suddenly thought of a question to ask you, but alas, it has slipped my mind. If I think of it again, I will send you another message. Keep doing what you're doing. You're the best content creator in the game. Cheers from Lucas. Lucas, thank you for writing. One more vote for purple. Purple, purple. All of our corporate people here voting for purple. That's a new word, by the way. If you guys want to ever use it, it's a very archaic word, but it's a formal one. The word porporate. Porporate. It means wearing purple, clad in purple. You can use the word porporate to describe, say there's a group of, say there's a fast food place that all the employees wear, wear purple. You can say, well, I went down to visit my porporate, our porporate friends down at Taco Bell, right? And you could use that word porporate to describe how they're always wearing purple on their uniforms. It's a word you can use if you ever so choose. Let's see. Dear Mr. Review Bra, I've been writing you in response to your question, what's your favorite color? From your last VORW show, it's hard to say which color I may find the best. This question doesn't usually come to my mind every day, but if I could choose a color, it would probably be a wooden brown color. This color reminds me of many things: trees, dirt, my table I work on, my television, and my furniture I inherited from my grandfather. In summary, it reminds me of the past, and the past is a comfortable place. Amen to that. You couldn't have said that better. The past is a very comfortable place. It really is. Thanks, an avid listener from Andrew. Thank you for writing, Andrew, and, you just told it like it is. It is a comfortable place, the past. Couldn't agree more. Greetings report of the week. In response to your last VORW question, my favorite color is probably blue. I feel that this isn't the color that immediately jumps out to me or to many others as a favorite, but most of my clothing is blue in some form or another, and I have a light blue leather chair in my apartment as well. So, based on how much blue stuff I have, I must go with that. Thank you for writing. Blue. One vote for blue. And it sounds like a pretty neat-looking little chair there in the apartment. A light blue leather chair. This one, serious offer in all caps. If you want to come up to the Brooklyn for the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest in Coney Island, my friends and I would totally pay for your travel expenses. A big fan from Max. Well, flip a coin and decide. Heads, let's get a coin. Heads means I'll go. Tails, I'm not going to go. So, Max, we're going to let the coin decide your fate. Tails it is, and I'm not even lying. It actually is legitimately tails. I flipped the dime and legitimately landed on tails, so I'm sorry, Max, but I'll have to turn down your offer. Thank you for the offer, though. Maybe I'll send my body double over. Hello, John, long-time listener and a huge fan. I work a late-night shift, and I listen to almost all of the VORW shows. It's really neat to see how you've grown as a human being. What is your favorite word in the English language? Mine is espionage. I love the way it flows. Another great one that begins in the back of your mouth and ends in the front is crisp. Say it and think about that. Crisp. Yeah, you're right. Crisp. Crisp. It does start in the back and just flows to the front. Crisp. Yep. Anyways, just curious. I have one of my favorite words, at least, off the bat, is felicitations. That's one of my favorite words. That's another big one. The word felicitations is a fancy way of saying hello. So if you just want to say, instead of saying, hello, everyone, this is Running on Empty Food Review, I could say, felicitations, everyone, this is Running on Empty Food Review. So that's one. And another word that I like is the word impecunious. I just like that word, impecunious. Impecunious, that means penniless, being poor, not having a vast amount of wealth. So you can say, felicitations, everyone. This is the Report of the Week. You know, I decided to pay my corporate pals over at Taco Bell a visit, and I blew $25 on this brand new, burrito to review. And I'll tell you what, being a food reviewer, sometimes it leaves you impecunious. It really does. I mean, going to all these places, it doesn't seem like it should, but it does. And that's how you could just use those 3 words we just talked about in just one sling right there. He also says, keep the great shows coming. I'll keep supporting you via Patreon. Well, thank you for your support, by the way. I also can give a shout-out to my lovely girlfriend, Emily. Huge fan forever, Ryan from Austin, Texas. So thank you for writing, Ryan from Austin, Texas. And absolutely, to Emily, you have a shout-out. You have been officially and formally shouted out by the Report of the Week. You have been shouted out. On to the next. There's nothing in the filtered message folder. And, let's see. Hey, Review Brian, new to your work but already a big fan. I was listening to your most recent VORW and heard you collect fan art. Turns out I had just done a drawing of you for my own amusement. Hope you enjoy it. And here's the picture. Very nice. It is what it is, the drawing says. Very nice. Thank you so much for your work. Oh, this person. Oh, you sneakity snake. They're saying, we're a big fan of your channel. All the videos are awesome. We were wondering if there's an email address or, a way to ask questions. And then you realize, you look at the name, and you realize, wait a minute, it's just one of those scamming partnerships that always tries to contact you. But they tried to pretend they were a fan looking for more info so they could spam you more. Not on my watch. We'll delete that one. And, this guy says, I thought you'd enjoy this guy's channel. Let's see. It's like a type, like a teletype. Oh, it's a recording of the bird station. It's a recording of the birds. Yep. Alright, it says, and this guy is 2. This is another... Let me just see this. Hold on a second. No, okay, no. I thought I knew this guy too. But I don't, okay. Thank you for this channel. I haven't seen this one before, so this will be a fun one to try out and look at some of the old number stations. Speaking of, let's see if that bird station is still active right now. Let's turn on the shortwave and let's see if the bird station is still active on the air. Well, there's a weak signal on the frequency, but it's not really... Oh, you could faintly hear it. A lot weaker than last time, though. Very weak. A lot weaker than the last time, so who's to say? Hold on, this is my own curiosity. I just want to see what broadcast station this is. Sounds Asian. Let's see. The Voice of Tibet, this is. The Voice of Tibet. So it's Tibet's international broadcaster. And that reminds me, the Voice of Tibet, believe it or not, actually doesn't even broadcast out of Tibet, because obviously Tibet is not recognized as its own nation by China. So Tibet actually broadcasts its own, international broadcaster from Madagascar and I think Turkmenistan, I believe. I think that's kind of funny that they don't even use their own transmitters. Alright, well that concludes our fan mail for the YouTube inbox. Now therefore, let's check out what we got for the Rep Week Interview 1 email. Let's check the date we last uploaded the VORW. That is May 29th. So anything after the 29th. Okay. Okay, here we go. This person says I missed his letter too. Let's make sure we got it here. Here we go, okay. Hello once again, I found your channel through Facebook. A Facebook page called Creme de la Meme posted a screenshot of one of your videos in early 2014, and someone in the comments put a link in your channel, and I thought the idea of someone in formal clothing reviewing very informal food was a novel concept. So I decided to check your channel out, and I was hooked after a couple of videos, and have been an avid viewer and listener, and I've been sending in fan mail ever since, and I'm glad that they post that picture of you because it helped me find one of my favorite YouTubers. Here's a question for you. If you could travel to one fictional universe of a film, TV show, novel, video game, etc., stay there for as long as you like, which would it be and why? Also, could you please give a shout out to Tom, quote-unquote, Gary's Mod Moore? Thank you, yep. To Tom, Gary's Mod Moore, Mr. Moore, you have a shout-out, a very official and formal shout-out from the Report of the Week. Mr. Moore, or should I say Tom, quote-unquote, Gary's Mod Moore, you have been shouted out. And to answer your last little thing about that, if that's real, that is real, and it is what it is in that regard. Now, fact of the matter, in terms of the fictional universe, that's really tough to say, because I just say, if anything, I don't really want to go to any fictional universe, I just want to go back in time, that's what I really want to do. Now on to his next letter, the first one we'll read from the email. Hello again, Review Bro, my favorite color is black. I'm not sure why, it just appeals to me. I'm also a fan of deep reds, blues, and greens. And he says, take care. Thanks from Josh. And he says, P.S. Where is Orca Man lately? I miss his absurd and surreal ramblings. Yeah, me too, man. Me too. I'm calling you out, Orca Man. If you're still out there, if you exist, if you're just out there, swimming in the deep blue, the deep blue abyss below us all, If you're out there, worker man, let us know. Make your presence known to us, and write in. You know, you were a staple of this show back in 2014. This worker man was. I know anyone hearing about worker man now, maybe who hasn't listened to the show since the beginning, wouldn't really know who I'm talking about. But I mean, this guy, he was a staple of the show. I mean, he was. If anyone listening from 2014 or even 2015 when he made a reappearance, you know what I mean. He was far out. He was. Okay, let's see. Hello. Thank you for getting to my last letter. I appreciate it a lot. I'm glad you like the idea of the short story I'm working on about someone else being you. Fortunately, it's going kind of slow, but I'll try and share it perhaps for reading in the near future. In the meantime, since I don't have my story to submit, and I don't have any questions for you today, I thought I could ask you to be so kind as to do a reading on the show. This is the first part of the first chapter of Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky. It's a really good book, and I believe I recommended it to you before. Reminds me a lot of your story of regression of life. Thank you so much, as always, and keep going on. Absolutely. Let me just take a sip of water here, and we'll get to reading. I'll read what you sent me with pleasure. Okay. Crime and Punishment. Part 1, Chapter 1. On an exceptionally hot evening, early in July, a young man came out of the garret in which he lodged in S Place, and walked slowly, as though in hesitation, towards K Bridge. He had successfully avoided meeting his landlady on the staircase. His garret was under the roof of a high, 5-storied house, and was more like a cupboard than a room. The landlady, who provided him with garret, dinners, and attendance, lived on the floor below, and every time he went out, he was obliged to pass her kitchen, the door of which invariably stood open. And each time he passed, the young man had a sick, frightened feeling which made him scowl and feel ashamed. He was hopelessly in debt to his landlady, and he was afraid of meeting her. This was not because he was cowardly and abject, quite the contrary, but for some time past he had been in an overstrained, irritable condition, verging on hypochondria. He had become so completely absorbed of himself and isolated from his fellows that he dreaded meeting not only his landlady, but anyone at all. He was crushed by poverty, but the anxieties of his position had of late ceased to weigh upon him. He had given up attending to matters of practical importance. He had lost all desire to do so. Nothing that any landlady could do a real terror for him, but to be stopped on the stairs, to be forced to listen to her trivial, irrelevant gossip, to pestering demands for payment, threats, and complaints, and to rack his brains for excuses, to prevaricate, to lie. No, rather than that, he would creep down the stairs like a cat, and slip out unseen. This evening, however, on coming out into the street, he became acutely aware of his fears. I want to attempt a thing that I am frightened by these trifles. I want to attempt a thing like that, and I am frightened by these trifles, he thought, with an odd smile. Yes. All's in a man's hands, and he lets it all slip from cowardice. That's an axiom. It would be interesting to know what it is men are most afraid of. Taking a new step, uttering a new word is what they fear most. But I am talking too much. It's because I chatter that I do nothing. Or perhaps it is that I chatter because I do nothing. I've learned to chatter this last month, lying for days together in my den thinking of Jack the Giant Killer. Why am I going there now? Am I capable of that? Is that serious? It is not serious at all. It's simply a fantasy to amuse myself. A plaything. Yes, maybe it is a plaything. The heat in the street was terrible, and the airlessness, the bustle, and the plaster, scaffolding, bricks, and dust all about him, and that special Petersburg stench, so familiar to all who are unable to get out of town in the summer, all worked painfully upon the young man's already overwrought nerves. The insufferable stench from the pot-houses, which are particularly numerous in this part of the town, and the drunken men whom he met continually, although it was a working day, completed the revolting misery of the picture. An expression of the profoundest disgust gleamed for a moment in the young man's refined face. He was, by the way, exceptionally handsome, above the average in height, slim, well-built, with beautiful dark eyes and dark brown hair. Soon he sank into deep thought, or, more accurately speaking, into a complete blankness of mind. He walked along, not observing what was about him, and not caring to observe it. From time to time he would mutter something, from the habit of talking to himself, to which he had just confessed. All of these moments he would become conscious that his ideas were sometimes in a tangle, and that he was very weak. For 2 days he had scarcely tasted food. He was so badly dressed that even a man accustomed to shabbiness would have been ashamed to be seen in the street in such rags. In that quarter of the town, however, scarcely any shortcoming in dress would have created surprise. Owing to his proximity of the Haymarket, the number of establishments of bad character, the preponderance of the trading and working-class population crowded in these streets and alleys in the heart of Petersburg. Types so various were to be seen in the streets that no figure, however queer, would have caused surprise. But there was such accumulated bitterness and contempt in the young man's heart that, in spite of all the fastidiousness of youth, he minded his rags least of all in the street. It was a different matter when he met with acquaintances or former fellow students whom, indeed, he disliked meeting at any time. And yet, when a drunken man who, for some unknown reason, was being taken somewhere in a huge wagon dragged by a heavy dray horse, suddenly shouted at him as he drove past, "Hey there, a German hatter," bawling at the top of his voice and pointing at him, the young man stopped suddenly and clenched tumultuously at his hat. It was a tall round hat from Zimmerman's, but completely worn out, rusty with age, all torn and bespattered, brimless and bent on one side in a most unseemly fashion. Not shame, however, but quite another feeling akin to terror had overtaken him. "I knew it," he muttered in confusion. "I thought so. That's the worst of all. Why, a stupid thing like this, the most trivial detail, might spoil the whole plan. Yes, my hat is too noticeable. It looks absurd, and that makes it noticeable. With my rags I ought to wear a cap, any old pancake, but not this grotesque thing. Nobody wears such a hat. It would be noticed a mile off. It would be remembered. What matters is that people would just remember it, and that would give them a clue. For this business, one should be as little conspicuous as possible. Trifles. Trifles are what matter. Why, just such trifles that always ruin everything." And that was a reading of Crime and Punishment, Part 1, Chapter 1. Thank you for writing to me, Jared, and thank you for the suggestion. Good day, Review Bra. I've been listening and watching for a few weeks, and I just wanted to write in. I first found your channel via Reddit me_IRL post and decided to check out the water video. Thought it was very funny and decided to watch your other videos and found them to be very informative and entertaining. I particularly like your VORW shows, and they help me get through my dull shifts at work. To answer your question, my favorite color is purple. Any purple, really, from lavender to the darker shades. Thank you for all the videos, and I hope you keep making them. Also, I was thinking of getting into shortwave after listening to you talk about it so much. Is there any type of radio you recommend? Thank you again, from Alex. Thank you for writing, Alex. Another purple. And I recommend the Texan PL660 receiver. Dear VORW, I'm very partial to purple. Like you, I wear the same outfit all the time. My thing is a hoodie, preferably purple, a cute t-shirt from the men's section in Target, jeans, and Converse Chuck Taylor sneakers. I think I'd fit in fine in any decade from the 50s to today. I like the simple and consistent when it comes to outfits. I'm really disappointed in women's clothing these days. The fabrics keep getting thinner, and honestly, they're mostly kind of sexist. The last thing I want is to waste too much time in the morning when when I'm at my worst trying to figure out what to wear. I'm never thinking clearly in the first hour of wakefulness. As a child, I listened to Paul Harvey frequently, and I was an only child, and his program kept me company while I played. All these years later, at 48, having found you now, I get a very similar experience once again. I found out about you on an episode of Tosh. You'll probably hear that frequently. And I'm entering the month's credit card receipts, and your calming voices and stories are perfect for this activity. Did anyone tell you that your voice has a kind of addictive quality to it? I think that's essential in doing the kind of shows you do. You've really come a long way since that lecture on shoes. Yes, I certainly have. Let's see. I don't want to take up too much of your time, so I'll close with a fun question. If you lived in a Harry Potter kind of universe, what kind of magical person do you think you might be? Like if you lived around Hogwarts but weren't one of the people in the stories. Thanks for reading. Keep up the excellent programming. Best wishes for your best year yet. Sincerely, Niall. Niall, thank you for writing. And another vote for purple. And, if I lived like a Harry Potter, what kind of magical person do you think I would be? I think I'd be pretty neutral, in that regard. I wouldn't really, I'd end up using some of my, I'd just be kind of, I'd try to be on the sidelines in a sense, try to be on the sidelines a bit, but, try to be a neutral person, maybe be lazy sometimes and use the magic to my own advantage to get stuff, maybe try to be invisible sometimes. I think there's the one invisibility cloak, kind of wander around invisible a bit, so no one has to see me. And, kind of just be, I wouldn't use it for malicious intent or anything, nor would I try to use it to gain power. Maybe a couple bucks here and there, but, nothing crazy. Well, on to the next. Good morning. It's Jacob from Lubbock writing in. I started the podcast during my evening jog and happened to snap a photo showing some love during my walk. I got the question of the show in which you asked what my favorite color was. Mine would have to be yellow, and it's kind of a funny story. I wasn't even a big fan of the color until my girlfriend bought me a yellow bandana as a memento for her love to me. Shout out to Steph Cat, as I've got her hooked on the show now. And when I have to pick a color for anything, yellow is usually what I look for now. I have a few questions for you in regards to your discussion about the future of shortwave radio. What are your thoughts on YouTube Red, and where do you see your channel at in 5 years from now? Do you think YouTube will start slowly losing traction to another video hosting website and become what MySpace is to Facebook now? I feel like your supporters would definitely follow you on new ventures outside of YouTube. You're successful in the podcast realm, that's for sure. Now I was just curious on your outlook on how websites tend to fade away in a time when technology is advancing so quickly. Sorry for the blurb of questions, as I truly find your analyzing of subjects very intriguing and thoroughly explained. Stay safe during your night walks, Review Bra, and I'll tune in next time for VORW. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Jacob. And thank you for the picture. That's pretty neat right there. So to answer that, though, really, I just see the channel staying the same in 5 years' time. Maybe it'll be a little bigger. Maybe add like 20,000 more subscribers in 5 years. That's what I think. But I think it'll still pretty much be the same. I'm still going to be here doing reviews, in, what is 5 years from now? It's 16, 17, 18, 19. So 2021, I'll be right here. doing exactly what I'm doing. No change to that at all. No change. I'm just going to be doing exactly what I'm doing. Reviews and, still going to be wearing suits. Still going to be wearing my traditional suits. Still going to be listening to Shortwave if there's anything there. And still going to be doing what I do. I really just plan on this channel kind of keeping on, straight ahead. And no drastic changes I don't see in the future. Just going to keep doing what I'm doing, my friends. And, YouTube will fade away one day, but I don't think that day is going to come anytime soon. I don't see that coming anytime soon. Hello, Review Brah. First, I'd like to say that as a food writer that started young and pushed hard for years, I'd like to think I see a lot of myself in you when I was your age, maybe a bit too much, but I've enjoyed your videos for some time, as well as your occasional bleep posting on CK and Fit. I guess that was I always jump back to your page when I notice a commercial for a new whatever experiment they're debuting at Taco Bell or Pizza Hut. It's a secret love of mine to check out myself. You're kind of a spiritual successor to Chris Kimball in a way, where you do fast food, heated, mass-produced grocery store brands. Something that drove me mad to no end, as he would be ranking something like three olive brands against each other, but all of them were complete bleep, using overripe olives preserved with caustic soda and lactic acid. Anyway, thought I'd reach out to someone I'm a fan of, and if you ever want advice on writing professionally on food, let me know. If you ever find yourself in Vegas, let me know, and we could awkwardly eat either nice pizza or Michelin-starred food. Well, thank you for writing. Dear John, to quote Joey's World Tour, I'm back! Whilst it's well established you're something of an atavist, are there any modern inventions or changes you feel positively about? It's a broad question, so take them as you wish, or from which point in time you define as modern. In that regard, let's see, modern. In some ways, the internet, I look at positively, because the internet, fact of the matter is that if it weren't for the internet, my life would be inexorably different. It would be. I think the internet is a tool that could be used good or bad. I think it's really horribly abused and used most times negatively now to just propagate degeneracy and, many horrible things to all kinds of people. But I think the internet itself even could be, at least was one time something that I appreciate. Something I still have to show some appreciation towards. I'm opening a Red Bull right now because my throat's getting dry and I need some caffeine. So Red Bull it is tonight. Okay. Also, are there any items of food or drink that you would never review, even though you have reviewed their competitors? Related to this, there's a British energy drink called Pussy, and I don't think I could ever imagine you saying that word on video. The company claims their name was taken from a pet cat, but personally, I doubt it. Looking forward to an average day video if you're back in time from Paige. Well, thank you for writing Paige, and yes, I don't think I would, I don't think I would, review that drink. But, that's pretty much, things like that I would never review. There was something else everyone wanted me to review. It was some energy drink with cannabis in it. But, very unpopular stance, but I'm not one for that. I'm just not. That's another thing, I would just refuse to review, things along that line. But thank you for writing. This person writes, hello, I know I already sent a rather lengthy letter. However, I just felt like sending you another quick message to tell you I immensely enjoyed your recent energy drink review, in addition to the great guest co-hosts co-host. It always makes me happy to see you smile and laugh. The video really made my week. Thanks and keep up the good work. Well, thank you for writing once more. Do you review snacks or items sent in by viewers? I want to know what is the best between peppermint patties, Bendix, Bittermints, and Nestle After 8. Thanks. Well, we'll see one day if we could orchestrate something like that. Have a report of the week. Sending along the attached piece of fan art. The addition of the cat is in honor of your feline co-host of Energy Drink Review number 150. And this has to be one of my favorites so far, and probably was for many of your viewers. To answer your question of the last VORW broadcast of my favorite colors, that would depend what is the item in question. For clothing, I prefer white. Might be a local thing because I live in Southern California. Black is probably more sophisticated, but white goes better with our weather most of the time. For home decoration, I'm tending lately towards a neutral gray. And for personal choice, not attached to any particular object, I'll go for very pale lemonade yellow. My question to you is, what is your earliest childhood food memory? Mine was a root beer float on my 4th birthday, and I thought it was magical. Hope all is well with you, and that you're enjoying your travels. From P.S. So thank you for writing, P.S. That's a very noir-esque picture that you have here. Very nice. I immensely enjoy it. This is the individual who actually did the fan art for the last one, where I was with the crystal ball. And I love your work, by the way. It's just great. You know what you're doing, and it's great to see. You really you just do a darn good job there with this fan art. So thank you for that. Excellently done. Earliest childhood food memory. I mean, it's farther back. It's way back. I mean, people say you can't remember stuff before age 3. But I think there's times when you can remember small little snippets of memory before that age. I mean, I remember sitting as a baby, very faint memories. But I remember as a little baby sitting in my little baby chair and eating these little baby food and these little applesauce and peas and everything. I remember that. I remember that far back, and that's now what? Probably 20 years ago or so. If I was 2 at the time, or 1, I'd be then 21 years. It's been a long time ago, I'll tell you that. And I can remember that far back. I can. You were born in 2009 review, Bryce. Shut up. To the people who say that. It's just ignorance. That's what it is. Just pure ignorance. Dear Review Bro, I don't normally send emails to people I enjoy watching on YouTube, but after listening to VORW, you mentioned the importance of writing to content creators, and I felt compelled to write to you and show my appreciation. I've been watching your channel since the summer of 2015, although I probably discovered your channel around late 2014. I don't quite remember exactly how I came across your channel. I remember at the time there was a lot of your videos and screenshots of you doing reviews floating around Facebook, 4chan, and other sites, and I suppose I decided to check you out. I've been watching you ever since, and you're one of the few YouTube channels that I watch. I love your content and it only gets better as time goes on. I especially love your VORWs, which help me relax, as many other viewers have stated before, but also you discuss interesting topics and have a personality which is unique when compared to many other YouTube content creators. Your food and drink reviews are also very informative and entertaining, and I usually check if you have reviewed an energy drink or food item before picking it up. I can sympathize with your struggles with social anxiety and depression, as I have also struggled with these issues throughout my whole life and still do to an extent. But as you said, it does get better with time, and you should remain persistent regardless of whatever your life throws at you. To answer the question in your last VORW, my favorite color is blue, more specifically royal blue, which I've always loved since I was young. I'd even go as far as to say I feel an odd connection to it somehow. My question for you is this: are there any websites or forums that you frequently visit? I don't know if this has been asked before, and I apologize if it has been, but it piqued my curiosity. Also, are you aware that you are listed on the Brill Cream Wikipedia page, which can be found here as one of the notable users of Brill Cream, and I thought it was pretty interesting that someone listed you as a notable person who uses Brill Cream. Live long and prosper, yours sincerely. Well, thank you for writing, and I think that is very interesting that that I actually am here, listed on on the Wikipedia page for Brill Cream. So we are now officially immortalized on Wikipedia. And I don't really post on any forums anymore. There's some Shortwave forums, but that's about it. I used to be a lot more active in the forum community, but I'm just not anymore. I just really keep to myself in regards to being public about every movement of mine and whatnot. But I sometimes post my Shortwave loggings on a Shortwave forum, but that's about it nowadays. From a great writer. Hey John, as always, excellent work on the videos. The Cat co-star cameo was absolutely awesome, as was your non-scripted reaction when it started adjusting itself mid-review. Reminded me a bit of an old Johnny Carson show, but funny you mentioned Uber Monster. I was literally just talking about that drink with a buddy about a month ago that I still keep in touch with, who actually still works at Monster. The funny thing with that drink is that it was originally launched. We all had delusions of grandeur and thought it was an automatic home run. As you know, it looked cool, has a unique bottle, which literally everyone thought was the coolest thing since Daryl's crossbow. Walking Dead reference for all your viewers. And of course, tasted pretty much like the original Monster, only made slightly different with the syrup, which was also marketed in the Monster Hitman, which I have included a picture of, which were those smaller shots of Monster, which created a rival for the ever-awful 5-hour energy. Yep, I remember Monster Hitman. Those are something else. To answer the question, the problem that happened with the Uber Monster actually has nothing to do with the quality of the drink itself. The first minor problem which occurred was complaints of the bottle cap being a pest. When it was the weight of the bottle, then it was the weight of the bottle, which was slightly heavier and obviously more fragile than a standard Monster can, or any can for that matter. This made it costly to ship from the manufacturer to distributor to store, but the main reason they dialed it back from their main line is fear of a PR nightmare, and this will absolutely make you laugh and shake your head. They began to have concerns that juvenile delinquents would overindulge and think that it was okay to drink Uber like a 6-pack of beer. They also felt that the bottle itself resembled a beer, which, in my opinion, is what makes it look cool and adds for the novelty factor in the first place. On top of this chaos, they felt over 21 adults were mistaking the bottle itself as an alcoholic energy drink, example that Four Loko crap, which if you remember around circa 2012, while Report of the Week was dominating the energy drink review game by storm, the energy drink market as a whole was getting really, really terrible coverage from the media, including both Four Loko and Monster, of course. That being said, if someone is mistaking Monster for an alcoholic beverage, he or she has already been thrown back one too many drinks of the old hooch. In any case, this is pure speculation on my end. Any one of those reasons could be debated, and attest to be the downfall of how the Uber Monster never became a mainstay. To piggyback on the other part of your question, the reason Big Lots has them at such great prices is because Big Lots is really smart and buys overstock of back-ordered inventory or discontinued, which means you get really good drinks every now and then at the end of their shelf life at really good prices. Either way, I left you a couple of picks for some of the Monster flavors that may have met the energy drink grave a bit too soon. We'll discuss them another time on your show. In any case, as always, keep punching and keep up the great videos. Well, thank you very much for writing. Our inside expert on Monster. This guy knows what he's talking about. He actually worked there, and is always right now is a staple of the show. I always look forward to the letters this guy writes in, and it's always fun to kind of, get some of that inside backstory of my favorite energy drink brand. But he's got a few pictures. Monster Hitman, I remember that from 2012. I wasn't even a fan of them that much. I think they had a distinct apple flavor, if I recall correctly. Monster Import, that stuff was awesome. If that bit bit the dust. That's a shame because Monster Import was awesome. The Monster Rehab, that was never a big fan of that one. And then the Monster Dub Edition. Yeah, I remember all that good stuff from 2012 too. I think late 2012 or even 2013. Trying that out for myself. And let's see. I figure why not, I'll ask. Behind me here, I've got a few of the Muscle Monster drinks. The Muscle Monster energy shakes. And I don't know if you still were with Monster when these came out, so I can't, But I'm just curious with the Muscle Monster ones. I have this one. I mean, number one, I'm assuming that the Muscle Monster drinks, it's kind of Monster's attempt to really cater towards, the bodybuilding crowd and everything. But number two, I got this one Muscle Monster drink in my hand right now, and it's, I can't seem to really find much info of it anywhere. It's like it disappeared off the face of the earth. It's a Muscle Monster Energy Shake in peanut butter cup flavor. I don't think it's expired yet. I'm looking right now. Don't think it has. No, I don't see an expiration. But anyways, I got this Muscle Monster Energy Shake that's peanut butter cup flavored. I was looking, and I found all the other flavors of this Muscle Monster, but I haven't found that one. No trace. Nothing. I'm wondering, as I said, I don't know if you know much about this one, and if you don't, that's fine. I just say, yeah, is what it is. But that said, I mean, you know whatever happened with that one? The peanut butter cup Muscle Monster one? Was that like a test product and it just crashed and burned? Or is this just like some hidden gem that I came about? Or is it just doesn't have much coverage for whatever reason? I mean, I was going to review it, but I decided not to because I figure it's no longer sold and no longer applicable. But I thought it was an interesting little thing I came across. Thank you for writing, as always, my friend. Okay, got 2 more letters in here, and then that's it. Hello, long-time listener, first-time messenger. Just want to know that I enjoy your show very much. I have a stressful job and your videos can help relax the mind. Having said that, I would like to submit to you a possible reason for the 24/7 bird calls on shortwave. Ever heard of a number station? It's a clandestine form of communication used by governments and various intelligence communities to have current forms of pre-existing communications hardware available to them to communicate covertly with operators in the field. That is to say, a quote-unquote spy, for example, could be listening to that station knowing what to listen for. If it suddenly began broadcasting monkey calls or some such, might have a meaning to that particular party. I am by no means a tinfoil conspiracy nut, nor am I submitting this fact that this particular station is a number station, but I just find it mildly interesting, thought I'd pass it on to you. And I include the link to Wikipedia on the subject, as well as a YouTube station that is widely considered to be a number station. That's interesting. Let's see this. Wow, that is weird, that YouTube channel. It's, how to say or pronounce U.S. cities, and it's got 7,083 uploads. And this is what they consist of, apparently.
Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania, a great place to visit is Pennsylvania.
I don't know how you found this channel. It's got 7,000 uploads and 62 subscribers. Well, you find something new every day, right? Zullinger, Pennsylvania. Anyone here from Zullinger, Pennsylvania? Anyone? Anyone from Zullinger, Pennsylvania here? Bueller? Anyone know? Anyone know anyone from Zullinger, Pennsylvania? Ever go to Frank's Pizza in Zullinger, Pennsylvania? Wonder how good Frank's Pizza is. I'm looking at a map of Zullinger, Pennsylvania, and let's look at Frank's Pizza here. 4 reviews. Alright, let's see. It opens at 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Okay. Let's see these reviews for Frank's Pizza. Hope they're good. Good food at a good price. Pretty nice selection for a small place. Good pizza, good cheeseburger subs. Good curly fries, and lots of food. Reasonable price. Well, looks like people like Frank's Pizza. Maybe we'll fund. Now we'll try to raise money so I could take a trip to Zullinger, Pennsylvania, and try to get over there to Frank's Pizza. No, believe it or not, I was actually damn, I was close to Frank's Pizza. I was within. Shoot, I could have gone to Frank's Pizza. When I was driving down about a couple weeks ago, I drove within about 3 miles of Frank's Pizza, and I missed it. Isn't that a shame? Right there, this is when you want to kick yourself. I was within 3 miles of Frank's Pizza, and we missed it. Wow. Well, we didn't know, right? We didn't know. Thank you for the interesting letter. And finally, dear recipient, what's your workout routine if you have one? Or do you just night walk? Rumor has it that you utilize Travis Bickle's routine from the movie Taxi Driver. Have you seen it, by the way? One of my favorite movies of all time. Have a nice day, morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on where you're reading this. From that boy. Oh, bleep. What up? He says in parentheses at the bottom, as I guess a footnote. Yeah, I do SS plus Go Mad every day. You can just see I do that nonstop. I just walk. And I haven't seen Taxi Driver. I haven't seen it. I've heard good things about it, but I haven't seen it. Let's see if there's anything in the VORW info box. That's always the one that's kind of devoid of anything. But we give you, usually there's just like one letter per show in the VORW inbox, in VORW info inbox. So if you want to feel like you own the place, why don't you write to us at vorwinfo@gmail.com, be your own person and get a whole inbox to yourself, Avoid that crowded Rep Weekend if you want address. Have the whole frickin' place to yourself. vorwinfo@gmail.com. And this individual here, Lorenzo, from Southern Europe, owns the box this time. He owns VORW info. He's the only one who wrote into that address this time. Hello, Review Bra, first time writer here. I just wanted to thank you for introducing me to shortwave listening. It's become one of my favorite hobbies since I first came across you in early 2015 in a nice thread on R9K where you answered a few questions from your fans. For the past year, I've been using the WebSDR under the username Toolbox, but now I think it's time to start using a proper receiver. As for the question last VORW, my favorite color is green, especially dark/brownish green when it comes to clothing. Together with this message, I send you a picture I took while hiking in the Italian Alps, and I'd be grateful for it to be featured in the next VORW. Again, thank you, Lorenzo from Southern Europe. Well, thank you, Lorenzo, and thank you for that beautiful picture. A very wonderful scenic one that, with pleasure, I will share in this VORW. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes this VORW, and that's all that I have for you. Now, do remember that the question for this VORW is simple. The question for this program is, what is your favorite carbonated beverage? Beverage has to be carbonated, but that's it. And it could be anything. It could be some obscure, Vietnamese carbonated drink I've never heard of. Anything goes. As long as it's carbonated, anything. Carbonated water. Coca-Cola. As I said, some obscure foreign drink I've never even heard of before. Alright? If you got stories as to why you like it, more the better. So, gladly, answers to the questions are greatly appreciated. What is your favorite carbonated beverage? Caffeinated or otherwise, doesn't matter. Just has to be carbonated. Everything is valid as long as they're carbonated. Alright? Even if you like to be creative with seltzer and you make your own drinks, maybe that'll lead to a nice little story or something. But I'm looking forward to the responses there. If you have any questions for me, that is greatly appreciated. Any shout-outs for anyone you'd like to shout out are appreciated as well. Any general statements you have, any general remarks, any comments, criticism, feedback, positive or negative, are always appreciated as well. And that's all that I have to you. And if you're listening, Orca Man, if you're out there, feel free to write in someday. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all that I got. And that's all that I have for you. This is VORW, the voice of the Report of the Week. I hope you take care. I hope you have a good one. And that is all. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Report of the Week. Have a great one. Take care. VORW concluded. This is the voice of the Report of the Week, signing off.